Good morning, good morning, good morning. What is going on, folks? Good to see you. Happy Monday. It's a new week, guys. New week for us to get started and do the things that we enjoy doing. Yes, that's work. That's right. We enjoy work, don't we? Come on. You do. Just kidding. Anyways, hope you had a great weekend. Hey, like Super Bowl just happened. I'm sure some of you were into that and did your Super Bowl parties, and some of you are probably upset at the outcomes, and some of you are excited. It's one or the other. I don't know, and some of you might not care. Maybe that's the third option. I would probably be on the third option. I saw part of it. I didn't really watch. I watched. Obviously, I always watch like the fourth quarter and see how they're doing. I watch a little bit in the beginning. I check out the halftime show, and then I watch the end. And usually that's what I did. But we did have D&D last night, so I had to get ready for that. So I was kind of like not really paying attention. But unless I'm mistaken, and something changed after I stopped watching, which it was only 2 minutes left. Basically, the Seahawks won, and I haven't looked. But I'm guessing that's what happened. So there's that. Anyhow, so maybe you're into that. I'm not. I've never been a big sports guy. Like, I don't know. I mean, I enjoy watching some of it, but I'm not like crazy on knowing all the knowledge. But anyhow, good morning. Good to see you. 10:55 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here in what seems to be still sunny South Florida, and it says it's 71 degrees outside, but it's a little windy. It's nice. It's nice weather. Still wearing a little sweater because it's always colder in my house for some reason. It's crazy. By the way, can you believe we're already February 9th? Freaking, what is it? Valentine's Day is coming up. When is it? When is Valentine's Day? Is that this weekend? Yeah, it's on Saturday. Amazing. Look at that. Yeah. Can you believe it's already so fast? When we flew by January. Hopefully we got some stuff done. And then we're rolling straight through February. This is gonna be a fast month. I'm predicting this is gonna go by in a blink. You're not even gonna realize. You're gonna be like, where the hell does this month go? It is what it is. I like to start every stream with just a little chit chat, seeing how you're doing. Kind of tell you a couple of stories before I even get started doing my work. So that's actually a good thing for me. Kind of eases me into what I'll be working on today. But I got to go away this weekend. I got to clear my throat here. Hold on. Let me get some coffee because it is working coffee. I almost spilled myself. Okay. That happened. I saw something. It was a coffee thingamajiggy, and it's floating there. And I was like, "Whoa, what is that?" It scared me. I thought I had a bug in it. Anyways, coffee's good. I started coughing right before I got on. So I got away this weekend. This is a good thing. I got away. My wife needed a little break, and we had planned this last month. We went what I like to call glamping. It's not camping, so it's like glamorous camping. But no, basically what we did was we rented. We went with her sister and her sister's husband and so forth. They had rented two campsites at Fort Wilderness, which is in Disney here in Kissimmee, Orlando, whatever it's called, Central Florida. And basically, you rent the campsites, and you either bring your own RV or you rent an RV. And there's a place you call specifically for renting the RV, so that they actually drop it off at your campsite and put it there. So they got two campsites side by side, and we went ahead and re-rented our RV. And it's funny because this RV would actually sleep 8 people, but it was just me and my wife. And we were going to bring my dog. I take Milo everywhere, but this time around, my daughter wanted to pet sit him. So she says, no, I want to stay with Milo. So she ended up staying with Milo. So it was just my wife and I in this cabin. In fact, I'm going to show it to you because I have it on Discord. Let me bring up Discord. Where's IRL pictures? Here they are. Okay. So yeah, so this was, I'll put this over here on this screen. Make sure it's on the right screen. Okay, perfect. So this was the RV. So we got an RV, and we also got a golf cart. And there it is. So this thing sleeps 8 people. 8 people in this thing. Can you believe it? It's amazing. So there were like one side back there, somewhere back there. This was the kitchen, I think. Yeah, because you walked in and there was a little kitchen in there. What's going on, Matrix? Good to see you, brother. Anyways, so here in the back, because you can't see it past this, is there's another room back there, and back there there's two sets of bunk beds. So one, two, three, four people can sit there, sleep there, and then in the area like the living room, kitchen area, which is right when you go through this door right here, right through that door there, there's obviously the kitchen, and then there is a little dining room table, and right next to it there's another. It's like a couch, but it can be converted into a bed, and then it sleeps two. So there's two people can sleep there, and then in this little window here, this is a whole separate room back here, and this is one big bed where two people sleep there. So it sleeps 8 people, but it was just me and my wife. That's it. So we just use this back room. I can tell you that it was definitely quite an experience to be in this thing, because I've never been camping, and two, I've never stayed in an RV. So this was an interesting thing for me. When it comes to having all the kitchen environment and like the sitting area, it is 100% like just like being in an apartment or renting a hotel room, because it has like the kitchen, it has a sink, it has pots, it has pans, it has a fridge, it had everything. I mean, it had like top of the line appliances. It was really good. It's like a premium or something. And so it was really great on that part. The bedroom was a full bedroom. It was a bedroom. It had closet. It had a closet. It had drawers. It had. By the way, there were like 3 TVs in this thing. It had AC. It had a fireplace, like an electric fireplace that lit up. AC, furnace, whatever. So it had heater. Everything was great. The bed was firm. The bed was a little firm. And I got to be honest, I really think I would bring my own sheets next time, or definitely my own pillow, because we did bring our own blankets. But the pillows, like, who knows how old they are. They had a little bit of a old smell, not like old person smell, but just an old smell. So I wasn't very happy about that. So there was another set of pillows that smelled better, so I used those. But for the most part, I slept on top of my blanket, so I put my blanket underneath. So it was good. Are you broadcasting from there now? No. I'm home now. This was just this weekend. So, by the way, good morning, Guino. Yeah, don't strike me as an RV guy. Yeah, I'm not. My parents spent a lot of time in theirs over the summer. Not my thing, though. Yeah, it's not my thing. So, like I said, everything was beautiful. Everything was great. Everything was clean, except for obviously the sheets just needed to be freshened up or newer. They did have a washer and dryer in there, but we didn't have washer and dryer soap. Washer soap. So, here's the problem that I had with just the RV in general. Even though it had a full bathroom, shower, running water, lights, a fan, a sink, everything that a bathroom has, including a toilet, there's one thing that it did not have. It didn't have water in the toilet. There is no floating water in the toilet. Like a regular toilet you go to, and when you lift it up, there's water there. So when you do your business, it goes into the water. It's not like above water. Well, unless you had like a big meal, and that's different, but that's not what we're talking about. But yeah, this had no water in it. So when you were done, your stuff is just there. You know what I mean? It's just sitting there. And then you have to close the lid, obviously, because I don't want to stare at this thing. And then there's a little like foot lever neck right attached to the toilet that when you press it down with your foot, it flushes it, like water runs through it, and it cleans it up. It does a great job. I don't know how fast that thing goes. But I just have this problem with pooping in a toilet that does not have water in it. It's just, I just found it to be the weirdest thing. That is the one thing that really just set me off. I was like, this is pretty bad. I don't know. Don't listen. I'm sure you know why, but it's one of those things. That's when I realized, I'm like, holy shit, I'm not at home. So, and sorry about that, but yes. So, I was happy once we got home. I got to see my toilet, and it's beautiful because it's a full functioning toilet. So that was the only thing that I believe that I kind of was not the happiest about. But we were only there for, let's see, we got there Friday night. We stayed there. So we slept Friday. We were there Saturday. Slept over Saturday, and then we came back on Sunday. So yeah, it's not bad. It was fine. Weather was chilly. It was about 40 or 50s, especially at night. So we had a fire going. We had a little fire pit that we were able to enjoy. I believe I have a picture of the fire pit here somewhere. We were roasting marshmallows. So there we are with our blazing fire. That thing was really, really high. I got a better picture of the fire. But look at that. I learned how to make a fire. I know how to make fires. So we did that. We did. Now, I have to tell you about this other event that we did while we were there. Let me close this out. Let me go over to a regular camera. So we decided not to go to a park. We were not going to go. We went to Fort Noble. We were going to stay at the campgrounds, and that's kind of what we were doing. We're just going to chill. It was just one of those getaway kind of situations. And for the most part, it was for relaxing. But the people that we were with, my sister-in-law and her husband, they always have something planned. So they had this idea of visiting all the parks without going into them and doing it for free. And I'm like, what? So they said, we're going to go on a tour. And so the tour that we took was basically, we would call it the transportation tour. So I think by now you can figure out what that means. But if you've never been to Disney World here in not here, but in Central Florida, I'm in South Florida. If you've never been to Disney World, they're basically, all the parks are in one central area, right? It's like a freaking, city. So it's all in one area. All the resorts are in one area. They're all together. Everything's kind of together. And there's transportation between parks as well as between resorts. So there's different type of transportations. There's boats, ferries, regular, like ferry boat. There's a regular boat also. There's buses, obviously. There's the monorail, which, goes around. It's like a train in the air, not in the air, but, on a track in the air. And then there's the gondolas, which are basically kind of like those things in ski resorts where you sit in this enclosed area and you're just dangling from cables and you go around that. So there was that as well. So the transportation tour that they came up with was, we would leave Fort Wilderness. From Fort Wilderness, we took our golf carts to the marina in Fort Wilderness. At Fort Wilderness, we get to the marina, and then we leave our golf carts there, and we get on the boat. We get on the boat. The boat takes us to Magic Kingdom. So we did that, and it was a nice water view. I think I took a picture somewhere, but I didn't post it. It's a beautiful water view. We got to see some of the hotels, even some being built. So we had a nice little cruise down the lake, river. I guess it's a lake, big giant lakes. And we get to Magic Kingdom. We unload at Magic Kingdom, and then we're outside of Magic Kingdom. And now we go on the monorail. And you can access the monorail because the monorail is outside of Magic Kingdom. So we got on that. It goes around the park. And so you can see the park. So it goes around it. And then when it gets back to where it started, we get off of that. And by the way, that was probably the worst part. And also the monorail goes to a couple of the resorts. And so it goes through some of the resorts. So you see other resorts, and you can get off and you want to visit resorts. And then it comes back to Magic Kingdom. You exit the monorail, and now you go down and you take a bus from the Magic Kingdom to, let me remember this properly. We took that bus not to Epcot. Did we take this to Epcot? No, we did not. Oh, we took the bus to the gondola. So now we're riding a bus, and there was nobody on the bus. It was just us. So it was like a private bus. So they took us to the gondola. We had to get to another bus that was the interim bus. So we switched buses. We got on that bus, and then we went there to the gondola. When we get to the gondola place to get the sky rail thing, we first stop at this amazing giant donut place. It's a little small shack. They sell these huge, I'm telling you, the donuts were like the size of my head, Huge donuts, taste delicious. We had that and coffee. That was great. That was like a great in between. Then we jump on the sky rail thing. I call it a sky rail. It's called the gondola. Gondolas to me are in Venice. You know, the boat, the guy, and the singing. Anyhow, so we get on this sky rail, and now the sky rail is just for us. There's 6 of us, so it's just us private in one sky rail, and we go, and now it takes us around the park there, and we end up in Epcot Center. So the Epcot is another park. So we get off there, and from there we walk to the boardwalk. Now there's a boardwalk. The boardwalk is like food. It's outside of a hotel. It's by the water. There's a marina also. We walked there. We enjoyed that. From there, we jumped on another bus, and this bus took us to. It was called. Oh no! This bus took us directly to, because the other one took us to Caribbean Beach, which is where we took the gondola. But this one took us to Disney Springs. Now, Disney Springs is basically an outside mall. It's like an outlet. It's got restaurants. It's got stores. I mean, all types of stores. It's like basically a mall, but it's outdoors. So it took us there, and that was our final stop. And we walked around. We went to a couple of stores. It's amazing that some of these stores had lines just to get into them. There's literally a line wrapped around the side of the buildings to get into the store. They were only letting a certain number of people in at a time. And I'll give you an example of one of the stores. It was a Lego store. And so you know there's going to be some great freaking Disney Legos in there. All sorts of Legos. But the line was huge, so we never got to get in there, unfortunately. And I'm like, we're not setting lines for Legos. I bought a t-shirt. It was a Wreck-It Ralph Game Over shirt because I was sweating. I was wearing something similar to this, and it was already hot. So then we ended up going to a restaurant, the Morimoto. Morimoto is a Iron Chef that was on that show, Iron Chef, on Food Network. And so he has a restaurant there. It's an Asian restaurant, obviously, and we ate there. It was really good. But before we got there, they were talking about a cookie line. And I had no idea what they're talking about, but you can order the cookie online, and then they will let you know when the cookie was ready, and you can go and pick it up. And supposedly it's like the most delicious cookie ever. There was a line that literally would take 3 hours to get through it, probably. It was a huge line just to stand in line for cookies. It was ridiculous. Even after we were done eating, there were still people standing in this line, waiting, waiting to get their own cookie. I don't know what the cookie had. We decided against it. We're like, I'm not going to stand in line for a cookie, and it's just stupid. So we didn't get it. But there must be something special in that cookie, because let me tell you, that line was huge. I'm not kidding. There was at least 120, 150 people in that line. It was ridiculous. But anyways, so that was that. So after that, we got on the bus, another bus, and that bus took us back to Fort Wilderness, where our golf cart was, and then we were back at the camp. That whole transportation tour that they made up on their own cost us $0, except for the fact that we obviously bought something to drink and eat, and then we had dinner. But that, if you can't imagine how long that took, it was 6 hours. So I personally, on any other day, I would be like, yeah, hell no, I'm not doing that. But I was with my wife. My wife, she says, it's something to do. Come on, let's do it. And she had a good time. We all had a good time. We were laughing about stuff. In fact, I did have a good time. And I was really doing this for my wife. I wanted my wife to have a break from like her everyday work stuff, and also dealing with my daughters and so forth. So she just needed a break. So you know what? It was time well spent. But if you ever go to Disney and you do, you go to the park for one reason, whatever park you decide to go, if you just want to take a day of just touring around, even the resorts, just use the transportation. It's free. It costs nothing. And in fact, it's like sightseeing. So that was pretty interesting that they came up with that. So anyways, that was a long story. I'm sorry. I kind of maybe bored you with that, but I had never thought about doing something like that. That was crazy. Anyways, before we start, might get into some other stuff here. I'm going to switch over to the other screen now. I gotta get my work started, so we'll chit chat as we work. How was your weekend, guys? Did you guys have a good weekend? Oh, I got to play Fortnite with Matrix once yesterday. That was good. I'll have to play again with them sometime. Where is my multi-box? Here it is. Okay. I was gonna show you this as well. So I bought these. Whenever I go to the supermarket, there's a supermarket called Publix here. I think it's well known in the southeast part of the United States. But so Publix has a section right in the juice. I don't know, maybe they have it in different places, but mine happens to be at the end of the juice aisle. There's a section where they have all the Hot Wheels, and I always look for Hot Wheel cars that are going to that are not the same as every other car. Like they're not like little regular cars. They're either part of maybe a series or toy or something that's a little bit different. So I always look for those Hot Wheels, and I found a couple. So I'm going to show a couple to you. Not gonna, nope. Going to take a while to recover from this weekend. Nice. So this is if you don't remember this, this is the little phone toy that the kids would pull with a string. This is from the 80s. I think this toy is still around, but they made this into a little vehicle. So this is obviously a collector's item. So I said, I'm buying it. Now, here's the beauty about buying these at Publix, at the supermarket. There were two, you buy two for $3. So basically I paid $1.50 for each one of these. And whenever I buy them, excuse me, I like to go and see how much they're selling for on eBay. So I use ChatGPT and I ask, hey, what? I don't even tell it what it is. I just throw it up there. Oh, look at this. Is this Mr. Brink subscribing? Thanks, brother. I appreciate you. Damn, 31 months. That's crazy. Have some peso bucks. Thanks, bro. I'll take it. I'll take it for coffee. Appreciate you, brother. Thanks, man. Good morning, by the way. So anyway, so I got this one, and this is the phone one. So I like to, whenever I get one of these, I always throw it into ChatGPT, and I don't even tell it what it is. I just say, price check, so see what it says. And again, remember, I paid like $1.50 for each one of these. It says, it's basically the Hot Wheels Mattel Dream Mobile. And according to this, if it's loose and opened, it's $1 to $2. If it's carded, in other words, not opened, typical sales are $3 to $6. So right there, $3 to $6, I paid $1.50. I'm already making money on this if I decide to sell it. Best case, perfect card, collector buyer, $7 to $10. Bulk value, what resellers pay is $2 to $3 if you sell it in bulk. So we're looking at anywhere between $3 to $10 on this. Monday mornings are busy. I take the Brink Spawn to school on Monday, so lurking for a bit. No worries, man. I appreciate you. I'll be here. I'm going to be doing some work in a few minutes, so I'm just going to be hanging out, chit-chatting. So anyway, so this little thing here will freaking sell. If I put it on eBay, there's a bunch of them. Actually, there's not that many right now. If we go to eBay, I noticed the Mattel Hot Wheels. Oh, there it is. When I looked, there was only like two. There it is. They're selling very low. But there's only two of them. And one of them is $4.24 plus $5.95 delivery. Two people are watching it. Another one is the last one. It says it's $2.29, $5.45 delivery as well, shipping. So there's not a lot of them listed, but they went for too little. My thing is, I'm not going to list them now. I'm going to keep them. I'm going to store them away, and later on, I'll probably put them up or something. But that's insane. Anyways, another one that I got, and I love because ChatGPT tells me it's like why the value is low, conditions for notes for the if you're selling it, this is a strategy. It tells me like basically how to do it. These goofballs come into my work every week and were rude and would scour through the new Hot Wheels and they trash the shelves. We end up having to ban them. Yeah, I'm very careful. You know how I do it? I I there's usually one of the you know how like they hang on those hangers, right? The sticks, the metal sticks. So there's usually one that's empty or partially empty. So what I do is I start moving them to the empty one. So I'm moving them as I'm looking through them, and all I'm doing is putting them in the next one. So I'm like kind of like filling up all of the hooks, and so I go through all of them that way. And once I get to the bottom, then obviously I'm done. But that's how I do it. I don't take them all out. And if I did take them out, I would take them out, put them in my cart, and then I would put them back. I'm very good at not being a jerk about that. I don't like to create chaos for other people to have to clean up. So it's the same thing when I go and I buy a shirt. If I look at the t-shirt, I fold it back up. And I try to fold it as neatly as I can and I put it back up there. I just try to be nice. I think it's an important thing. Anyway, so the next one that I got was this roller toaster. Now I noticed that there's 5 of these. This is number 3. And I did look these up and there's a bunch of different color ones, but I thought it was neat because there's toast at the bottom, at the top of it, and there's a little button and you can press them down and the toast goes down. Now, obviously I didn't open mine and it says the same thing. This one is basically sold between $3 and $9. So, you know, I looked this one up and there's a lot of this. There's a lot of this one. There's a lot of the other ones. So again, I put it away. I don't think about it. But immediately, these things, like I said, $1.50 I paid for them. I could easily make $3 on them. But I'm not going to sell them yet. I just like keeping them. What was the next one? The next one I got was the Magic 8 Ball. Now, there's 2 of these. I saw the one, I got this one, and then there's another one that's an aqua color, and I believe there's a third one that doesn't have the colored lines on the front. And these were also $1.50. And this one was surprisingly between $4 and $12 sealed, not open. Yeah, these guys just chucked them all on random shelves and they weren't worth anything. Ugh. Yeah, they're jerks. I hate when people do that. I don't like going to toy stores because of that. Like stores that are like Target and Walmart that have toys, because people like really, they mess up all the shelves. Everything's always a mess in those because you have people that are going in there to buy buy low and sell high, you know, like because they find something that's like, oh, these are going for a lot. The other place that people do that at is like Ross and what's the other one? There's another one. TJ Maxx. Ross and TJ Maxx, because they have a shelf of, they have like a back area of just toys. And if you look around, sometimes you find Funkos that are worth a lot more than what they're selling for. And sometimes you find some regular toys that are worth more than what they're being sold for. So people go there and try to buy them for cheap just to sell them. I've seen people buy like freaking collector cards and things like that there. It's crazy. Let's see. What's the next one I got? This is a good one. So this is the Dark Knight's Batmobile Camouflage. And again, $1.50. And it was, now this one, it says it's anywhere typically sold range for a sealed one like this between $8 and $20. Now, there were a lot of these out there. Hold on, I have to take this. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. That was my daughter. I need to take that. Okay. So, anyways, the Batman one, it can go up to about $20. There, I saw a bunch of these, and this is where, obviously, I'm just gonna put it away. But the Batmobile. I think it was a Dark Knight Batmobile. Here it is. Okay, so somebody has it for $6.99. It should be called the Tumbler one. Here's another one. This one goes from anywhere from I love this, $195 to $795. So buy it now. Here's another one for 99 cents. Like I hate when people do this. 99 cents. Stupid. Then there's someone selling a bunch of old Batmobiles. Let's see. Here's another one for $7.79. There's one for $4.99. This is an old one. So they are very low priced right now. So I'm just gonna put mine away. $8.99 for two of them. And again, I'm in no rush to sell these. I just like collecting them. What was the last one that I got? Let's see. Oh, this is the next one I got. So I saw this one. Now, if you don't know this game, I don't know where you've been, but this is Monopoly. Sorry, that was court case papers. Anyways, this is one of the Monopoly figures when you play the Monopoly game. You know that. Come on, everybody knows Monopoly. And this is one of the little figurines. It's a little car. Now, this is a complete metal. It's all metal, so it's metal color and everything. And it's supposedly the 90-year anniversary of Mattel or something. Anyhow, this one was it wasn't a big mover either. This is like $6 to $14. And I did look it up. Let me copy this for a second. I'm able to actually look it up this way. I didn't think there was that. I think I only saw two of them. I got something in my ear. Okay, maybe I don't do it that way. Let's try this way. See what comes up. It's got a weird name. Yeah. Oh, well, somebody's selling it. This was not here last night. So look at this. This is crazy. So someone's selling a lot of 12 for $29.97. So $30. They're still making money because even if you bought these for $1.50, I mean, you're making good money at $29.37. But here's another one, 3 of them for $21.99. Look at this one. This is crazy. This guy is selling one of them. Why is it? Oh, this is a factory defect. How is it a factory defect? Hold on a second. I need to read that. So factory defect. What is the defect? Oh, it's misprinted. Here, let me see if I can go to this one. There it is. It's misprinted. Let me look. Okay, mine is not a factory defect. Mine is actually printed properly. So there you go. So mine's not a defect. People like put value on these defects, and I don't know if that. I mean, who wants to buy that? Oh, it's a factory defect. I would say if it had if it had something different on it, maybe if it had like black wheels instead, or they didn't put the 90 years next to it or something like that, then I would consider that a factory defect. But not like I don't know. I don't consider that a factory defect. That's just obviously a misprint. But people think it's right. The guy thinks it's worth $75. Who knows? Maybe he'll get somebody to buy it. That is nuts. But anyhow, so there's a couple of these, as you can tell, $4.99. Here's one for $20. Here's another for $20. Now, obviously, these are from 2026, so they just came out. So there's no point in putting them up for sale now because now you're competing with all these people and everyone's trying to put their lowest price to make something. And I don't believe in that. I just believe in, you know what? I bought it. I like it. It's nice. It's a collector item. I will put it away. And who knows, 5 years from now or something, maybe I'll list it. So that was those. I think that was the last one I got. There was I've gotten some before. Oh no, here's another one. This I'm kind of disappointed. So this is a Batmobile, and I got this. There are a few of these, but my biggest problem with this one. Let me see. Where did I put it? I didn't notice that the box was crushed, and I don't know if the box got crushed after I bought it or if it was crushed before and I didn't notice. So the corner, let's see if I can show you that. You see that corner right there where my finger is? That's like all bent and scratched up. So if I were to try to sell this as a collector item later, that little that dent on the box is going to make a difference. People will be like, "Oh, the box is damaged." So therefore they will be upset. It has to be pristine. So I there were like 5 of these there. And these were not, I think this was $6 maybe. I think it was $6. And hold on, let me see. This is the push. Which one is this one? Let me get the right name. And I think these sold for anywhere from $10 to $25, according to the searching that it did here. But let's take a quick peek at that. I like doing this. Is fun for me. I like researching this stuff. This is actually part of work. I know we're doing mockups and listings, but this is something of that. As you see here, $12, $6.27, $15.95. I think I'm pretty sure I paid $6 for it. I think it was like less than that, anywhere between $4 and $6. Here's $8. The bid is up to $13 to buy it. $10. $13.99. It's crazy. So yeah, so there's a bunch of them. So again, I think this just came out. I'm not sure. It doesn't say the date on it. But it's gonna be another one of those items where I'm gonna put it away and I'll bring it out later. Because listen, it's Batman. Who doesn't love Batman? I love Batman. So it's one of those things that will be worth something later. Now there are some other ones in a collection that you can get, but they're not Batman really. They're just like regular cars. So there's that. Anyways, so that's my little haul of things that I picked up. That was fun. I'll probably get some more. I'll go buy again in the next week. They usually restock like every week. But I like doing that from time to time. Anyhow. All right. Enough dilly-dallying. I actually have to work now. So let's see. Where were we? I think we're going to be listing some the blankets that we created, the fleece Sherpa blankets. I had an interesting customer request earlier today. I mean, I should say yesterday, and I finished it I got another message from them this morning. So I sell woven blankets, and one of the blankets that is actually has been a pretty popular seller and also a popular favorite was one person said that it was not the color that they thought it was, and it did not match what they saw in the mock-up. So that there was no way. So I like to be honest. I like to review things. I like to make sure what they got, because maybe they got something in error. And I also always have, at least most of the time, I have an image, not only of the mock-up that is basically the true mock-up of a woven blanket, because this product has to be the way it's shown, but I also get a customer review photo sometimes from the people that give me a review. And so I use those images to prove my actual product sometimes if I don't purchase one myself. So in this case, I'll show you the blanket. This blanket is, we've talked about this blanket before. And this blanket is very popular for some reason. I think it's the colors, and it has sold quite a bit. And it is so one of the concerns that the customer wrote about was that it was it's listed as a burgundy color, like there is burgundy in it, but they said that it's rust instead. Now, if you're familiar with colors, when you say something is burgundy, even if you say something is gold, like has gold, they're usually hues. And when it comes to threads and when it comes to woven blankets, it's never one solid color because it's not a printed product. It is a woven thread product. It is a product that is made by thread, one piece at a time. So in other words, it's a machine that makes these. And if you look up burgundy hues, like a palette or something of burgundies, you will know that there are many different shades of burgundy, anywhere from purple, like purplish red, all the way to a rust colored, like almost like a burnt sienna. And those can all be considered in the burgundy family. So therefore, yes, so they are going to alter. But what you see in the mock-up is what it actually will be in this particular case. There are sometimes when it's a printed product that it may print wrong, so I get that. So what I did was, one, I said I would, I'd like to see a photo of what you received to make sure that it was accurate, and if it was not, I can make sure that we have it redone, recreated, whatever, reproduced, because there is no returns. Down here at the bottom, it says returns and exchanges not accepted. So I'm sorry, it's a made to order item. It's not sitting on a shelf somewhere waiting for somebody to buy it. These products are all made to order. That's why it's called print on demand. In this case, it's create on demand. And so, of course, I cannot. Now, this is one of the 5-star review from this actual product. And I'm going to show you this image side by side with the actual mock-up image. But this is the image of the product actually received. Let me bring that image up for a moment, because I did a comparison image and send it to them to say this is the mock-up and this is a result from one of the customer's photos, just so they can see. Let me see if I can open this in open with photos. Okay. All right. So I'm going to put this on the big screen for a second. So aside from the lighting in the room and the lighting in the photo, they are identical. There is little to no variation other than it being actually more detailed in the result, because obviously when you're doing the mock-up and you're farther away, it's not going to show as much detail. But as far as the color is concerned, this is farther away, the coloring, the actual design, everything is accurate based on what the mock-up is. And so obviously I sent this over. I said, same coloring with the exception of lighting. This is directly from one of the customers that had received it and actually gave me a great review. And it's the exact same size. So the cropping and everything is exactly the same, because depending on which size they get, the cropping might be a little different. Like some of it might have more space on the side, some of it might not. But basically they got exactly what they put on. Now, this one has a little bit different cropping because I believe that this is a different size. But other than that, the colors are spot on. So obviously I sent this and I said, please send me the one you received so that I can compare it, because I'm always willing to listen. I'm like, if it's wrong, if it looks completely wrong, I'm going to stand behind it. I'm going to go ahead and have it reproduced. So then I received another message from them, and I'm not going to show you all their pictures, but the problem is that they never unfolded it. So they're like, I haven't even unfolded it. So they're only looking at a folded corner. They haven't opened the whole blanket. They're just looking at one spot of it, one corner of it. That's whatever side they can see from a folded. I don't even know if they're looking at the back or the front of it, because the back on any woven blanket, I'm going to open up this one. Hold on. The back of any woven blanket is going to, it's not going to be the right image because it's the back of a threading blanket. It's usually darker. It's usually not even, there's sometimes not even colors in the back. So it's usually just a dark background because that's the back of it. That's the back side. The back side's, it's not double-sided print. Let's just say that. Or double-sided threading in this case. Open with, come on, where are you? Photos. So, so I'm not sure if they're showing me the back of it or the front of it. This on the left is what they're sending me. This is one of the sides. This is as much as they opened it up. They were afraid that if they unfolded it, they couldn't return it. Well, they can't return it regardless. I told them this is made to order. Unfortunately, there are no returns or exchanges based on the policy that is listed in the listing. So, but I'm almost guessing by looking at this that this is the back. It could be. And that's why I said, you know, they sent me a couple other pictures and I could see a sticker on it, whatever. But I said, I need, if, you know, based on what I'm, and also based on what I'm looking at, this is their image. This is the customer review image that I just showed you a second ago. And I did a close up, even though it's not as, you know, obviously detailed because I'm closing up on a small image. It's exactly the same. Like all the colors are exactly the same, exactly how they're supposed to be. I compared this to the actual artwork design itself that is being used to create the products, and it's exactly the same. So everything is correct. There's nothing wrong with this. Now, the other thing that they mentioned, and I'm going to point it out in here, is they mentioned that, well, the threads, like the fringes, don't match. The sides are multicolored, and the bottoms and tops are black and white. Well, that is correct. That is the way it's supposed to be. And if you look at the customer review, it's the same exact way. The sides are colorful. The bottom and also the other side, the top, is going to be black and white. If you look at the mock-up image, if I went back to that image, which I don't think I have it open anymore, it is also the same thing. It is also in the same way, and it is clearly seen in all of the mock-up images. The sides are colorful. The bottoms and the top is actually black and white. Why? Because the way that the machine in these woven blankets makes these threads, like has the thread loaded up, is it does the black and white this way or whichever way it does, and the opposite way it does the color. It's like a cross. And so that's how it's done. So this is why you'll see the fringes on one side that will be black and white, and the other sides will be the multicolored. That's normal. That's the way it is. That's the way it's shown on the mock-ups. That's the way it's shown on a customer review image. And that's what they received exactly. So I'm stuck with obviously with a dilemma where, one, we don't provide returns or exchanges because they're made to order and the policy is stated there. Two, there is nothing wrong with the product as I can see at this current time, with the exception of, like I said, this might be the back of it. So I need to see it. So at this point, everything is the way it's supposed to be. Now, the only thing that I asked for, and I told them, I'm like, at this point, everything does seem accurate. The only thing that I can't tell is whether you're showing me the back of it or the front of it, and I'm only seeing one corner. If you can please unfold it and take a photo of it unfolded where I can see the entire blanket, as well as make sure that it is the front of it, not the back, then I can take a closer look for you, and I'll be very happy to do that. And that's what I did. So listen, all you can do is provide good customer service and try to make people happy. I need to go back to multi-bucks. And that's what I do. It's like, I want to make sure that they are satisfied. It's a good product. I stand behind it. Many people have purchased it and I have had no complaints with it. So I want to make sure that their questions are being answered. But if they didn't look at, I'm going to open this one again. If they didn't look at the fringes, here it is, multicolored, black and white on the bottom. Okay, there's the colors. There's another style there. There's a close up, and it's not as detailed because this is obviously a photo from, like, the manufacturer. There's another example. This is a little more detailed. Here's the actual, again, there's the fringes, black and white, colors on the side. I mean, it's all there. The colors there is a slight rust to it because it is that shade, but you'll notice that there's different shades of burgundy on it. So, and like I said, it does say down here, return and exchange is not accepted because it is a made to order product. Now, if you see all that, and on top of that, there's also at the bottom of the listing, there's reviews of the actual item. Now, this one in particular only has 2 reviews on it, but both of these reviews have the actual image, especially this one, which is recent. So I'm not, it doesn't upset me that that people, when they receive something, they ask questions and they're like, this doesn't look like because what turns out is that they didn't look at it carefully. They made a decision just like, oh, that's cute. Yeah, I'm going to get that. And they don't really look at the mock-ups. They don't look at they don't get in and look at everything. When I go to buy something online, I need to really look at it, especially if it's material, like clothing, blankets, things like that. I want to know everything about it. And I make sure that I list everything about it as I can. Now, sometimes people buy things and they don't realize they didn't check, and they're like, oh, it doesn't match with my stuff. Well, you had the image. You could have checked. So it makes me feel a little bad that they didn't really go through and make an effort to understand what they were getting. But in the end, how many times have you purchased something online that's clothing related, and maybe even anything, and it's never like, if you buy some clothes, like if you buy a t-shirt, it's a t-shirt, it's fine. But I have even had the issue, and I think we talked about this last month because I showed you some returns. Like, I bought a couple of linen shirts for my wife. They looked really good, and the model that they had it on, it looked really like nice and fitted and so forth. And my wife is my wife's great, and she's good looking, and she's got a nice figure, so things look good on her when she wears them. But this thing, it showed like that it fit like a fitted shirt, almost like a nice, had a curve to it and everything. And so I'm like, oh, it's a nice shirt. And it was a linen shirt, so I wanted her to have something for a cruise that we were going to go on in a couple of months, whatever. So I bought like 3 of them. But when they got here and she put them on, they were like potato sacks. They literally were square. There was no fitting. There was no, like, the way it was shown. And so, yeah, there are going to be times when you buy something online that's not going to be what you bought. Now, if you want accuracy on some of those things, you tend to go and buy the things in person. Like clothing, you should probably go to the store, try it on, see how it fits. But sometimes, you get lucky and you buy something online and it fits perfectly and it looks great. And you're like, yes, exactly what I wanted. I bought a cyberpunk sweatshirt that was from Amazon. And I think it was a Chinese company. I'm not sure. So I bought 2. I bought Super one because I think it was his birthday or something. And then I bought one for myself. And I bought the size based on what my size was at the time. I was a large back then. And when I bought a large, it was like a skinny large. It was like a large for like a Banana Republic guy. It was like slim fit large. And it didn't say that. And not only that, the material, I don't remember what the material said it was, but it was like a silky, almost like full polyester. It was like silk. It wasn't even like a sweatshirt. It's supposed to be a hoodie. And it was like a silky, like dry fit almost. And anyways, couldn't wear it. Now, Super wore it. He didn't care. He's like nice and snug. He likes it that way. Me, I can't wear that. It shows every single roll I have. Not only that, I had a hard time fitting in that thing. So I'm like, yeah, I guess I'm not wearing it. I ended up just recently donating it. I threw it in a donation box. But that those things happen sometimes when you buy something online from, especially from another country, because their sizes are just not the same for some reason. Anyways, so I think that's the one thing with any online service is that you're going to have to offer you're going to have to be offering good customer service. You're going to have some people that are going to, for whatever reason, not be happy with whatever product they got, no matter how good it is, no matter how much attention to detail you put on it. There's always going to be somebody that didn't read your description, just looked at one image, just looked at the actual picture and said, "Oh, that's cute, I want it," and they didn't really pay attention to what they were buying. Somebody actually bought one of the same blanket. They bought a. Sorry, I'm going to bring this over here so I can start working on it. They bought the same blanket I was talking about, but they bought the smaller version of the blanket, the smallest one. So it says the inches. Now, when I look at something, if I go to buy it and I look at the actual measurements, the first thing I do is I get a ruler or a measuring stick, a measuring tape. And then I like to say like, oh, it's, so this is a yard, right? This is 36 inches. So I take this and then I look and I think it's like 50 by 37, I think the smallest one is. So I look at this and I'm like, this is 36. So if this is 36, one more inch of this is the actual width. So I'm like, all right, so it's going to be this wide, just with a little more, like one more inch. And then it's going to be like, and then I'll measure out this way. Obviously, I'm not going to do that, but I get an idea of what's the size of something is, because if you're providing the sizes in the listing, people want to make sure they're getting. So I had a different customer purchase it. They loved the blanket. They loved the color of it. They loved the quality. Everything was great. They gave me a great review. They gave me a 5-star review, but they said, I really wish I would have gotten the bigger one. And and you know what? You can still buy, and I said, you can still order the bigger one, but that's where it's customer fail, because they didn't take into account to measure the sizes that were given so they can realistically see how big that 37 was going to be. Because then I would be like, oh, that's not very big. That's only 3 feet. I should get the bigger one. I want something that's like 5 feet or whatever. And so that's important. If I'm buying a shelf, I'm doing like, okay, I need it to fit under my desk. I'm checking what is the size of my desk. Now my desk is a standing one, so it goes up and down, but this is where it usually sits. So if I want to make sure that I get, I'm measuring with my stick here. I want to make sure that I get the proper desk that's going to fit underneath this with all the hardware and everything. I'm looking, it's at 27 inches in height right now, like as far as the bottom of it. So I would have to probably get 25 inches in height total. So that is something that I would check before I buy something. That's what everybody does, or at least that's what you should be doing. So that's the only part when it comes to customer service, when they, oh, it's not big enough, or I thought it'd be bigger, or don't even say that's what she said, please. Anyways, all of those things, when they don't take into account the sizes that you provide, and the measurements are there. All you have to do is check them before you order. Make sure that fits whatever it is that you're getting. But that's, live and learn. It's the same thing with the canvases. Like, an 8x10 is small. An 11 by 14 is small. When you start thinking 16 by 20, it's like, okay, that's a little bit bigger. That's good. 18 by 24. Okay. Where's that going to fit? Now you're looking at 24 by 36. That's a lot larger. That's like the poster that's over here behind me. That's 24 by 36 right there. The one next to that, I believe that's an 11 by 14. So, and the one over here, which you don't see all of it, like right here where my finger is, that one's I think it's a little bit smaller than a 16 by 20. But So, I mean, that's where you start. You have to know these sizes, and you want to know where you're going to put it, and you have space for that. If you're going 30 by 40, now you're like, okay, I really need a lot of space for this. I have something in the other room that's a 30 by 40. Above me, I have like a 4-panel wolf. Actually, I don't. You can't see it up there, can you? Here, I'll show it to you. So I would say that probably covers a 30 by 40, if not a little bit bigger, maybe a 30 by 50 or something. But anyhow, the idea is like whenever you're buying something, if someone's giving you the measurements, canvas, blanket, freaking desk drawer, whatever, measure it out before you order. Make sure it fits whatever it is that you're wherever you're going to put it, or whatever you need it for. That's important. I know this isn't rocket science. I know everyone's like, we know this. Yeah, but you'd be surprised how many people don't do that. They just order and they're like, oh crap, it doesn't fit. Oh, it's too small. Oh, it's too big. Yeah, because you didn't measure. Anyhow. Okay, so we're doing blankets. We're gonna see. Did we make these? I think we did make these blankets, so I want to double check. Yeah, they're over here. Okay, so we got the blankets. Let's find. We have the listing as far as the Printify listing. There's 3 parts to this. There's going to be the actually there's 2 parts really. Well, 3 parts. There's the creation process, which we've already done. Then there's the Printify product creation. That's the second part. And that gives you that gives you the product, that gives you the SKU number, that gives you, designs ready on the product already, so it's good to go. And this is where, you're creating your mock-ups and blah, 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 and all that. And then the third part is creating the actual listing that you're going to put on Etsy. And that's where you take your product, you take your mock-ups, you write your description, your shipping, your handling, the freaking price of it and everything, and all the different variations, and you create your listing on Etsy, and then you're done. So we are on that last third phase on these 3 blankets. We have like 10 pillows that we have to do. We're going to see if we're going to get to those, but I'm going to try to at least get these 3 blankets done in today's session. And we did some work, if I can find. We did do some of the we did some of the mock-up work. So we're going to create a folder and put them in there so that we can see which mock-ups we have. Now, I'm going to try to see if, I don't know how many of these mock-ups I want to use, but let's see how many we have. So why don't we go ahead and make a folder and see if we have a folder for this, because here are the mock-ups. By the way, I found someone that I think copied one of my canvases, or one of my designs, I should say. And I really do think that they copied me. So I copied them right back. I don't think I'll list it, but they you want to see this? This is pretty interesting. I'll show this to you because I thought it was too exact. Let's see if I can find it. Is it this people? Yeah, it's this guy right here. Let me see. Okay. Now, they've been around for a while. They've been around for 5 years. And maybe this is what they do. And their stuff is all AI, by the way. But I'm going to say I'm fairly certain that they copied mine. But I don't know, based on the listing time. I'm trying to remember when I listed mine, and I have it in a couple of different places, so I need to check the date on when I listed mine, because it could just be a coincidence, but it's too much of a coincidence. Let me see if I can find the barn owl. Okay, yeah, it's like really coincident. There's like definitely. Okay, so this is theirs. I'm gonna click on it. there's two of them, which is really interesting because like I said, I have very similar listing. Here's mine. Can I put these side by side? Okay. Can I go to desktop live? Yeah, there we go. Okay, side by side. Now mine's this one's a canvas. This is probably a print. I'm not sure, but it doesn't matter. So this image and this image are there's a similarity there, right? Tone of the colors, everything. I mean, it's very similar. I would not put it past saying that there probably was some copying in it, but there is, yeah, you know, it's a barn owl. What can you do? It's just very similar. Now, the reason why I have a feeling that it was is because then I look at this one, and then let me go back and I'll find my other one. And then I also have this one. And so that's where I'm just like, hold on a second. That's too coincidental that two of them are so similar. And I'm just like, yeah, I have a feeling you grabbed it, put it in Describe, and ran it in Midjourney and created a variation of my image. I'm fairly positive that they did that. So when I look at their stuff, they're basically a lot of AI images. Like mostly, it's this, as you can tell, it's like just random AI stuff, and they do well, and they've been around for a while, and they've done quite a number of sales. So I don't see why they would be copying from somebody else. I mean, it's not like, come on, creativity, really. So, and the only place that they would get it from is here. So that's one thing. The other thing is like it's Morris, it's William Morris style, which is basically the same thing that mine is. So I think that there was some cheating there. So I wanted to test the theory, and I said, well, wait a second, let's look at one of theirs. And so this is one of theirs that they have. And I decided I wanted to see if I could create that variation of that. And let's say that I did the same exact thing that they did. So let me open this in a photo. And I'm not selling this, but I just wanted to create it. And so, yeah, I'm able to do exactly the same thing with some variation. I mean, yeah, the fox looks exactly the same. I'll put him up closer. And it's still in a hole. The tree looks different. The mushrooms are different. I've got some flowers in mine. I made it different. Now, if I really wanted to be a jerk about this, and I'm like, you know what? I like the idea. I'm going to create my own. Then I could easily change the subject to something else. Now, I don't do this. This is not what I like doing. So, but I was trying to prove a point here for myself. So yeah, I could easily take the same concept and then just get rid of the mushrooms, make it a little wolf cub instead of a fox, make it in springtime instead of whatever time this actually is, and has wildflowers. And there is some snow still in the area because it's spring is coming, and obviously the snow is kind of still there, but not really. And I can totally do that. And this legitimately would be okay. Will I do it? I don't think so. No. I mean, I think it's cool. Maybe, you never know. I might be like, yeah, I kind of like it. Maybe I'll just offer it as a print. But this is, I think, what people do is they take an image and they will run it through Describe, or they will run it through ChatGPT, which this is how this was done, and be like, hey, can you give me a variation of this? And instead of a fox, use a wolf, and instead of add no mushrooms, remove mushrooms, change it for wildflowers, and make it in the springtime. And you just say that, and it will actually recreate it, keep the same kind of idea and concept of the image, but just recreate a different variation of that using the changes you made. Is that, now I pose this question to you, and you're welcome to put this in the comments below later on, is how do you feel about that? Does that make it different enough where you changed, you took an idea and you made it your own? Or do you still consider that's taking somebody's stuff and copying it? And that's where that comes down to the question of that. Now, I personally don't feel good about something like this. I would not do this. And that's why I'm saying it's like, I don't even know if I would ever list something like this. But I do like the concept of a sleeping cub, little wolf cub in a little den or something, surrounded by flowers. Yeah, I could totally do this. It doesn't have to be this exact image. And it's great to get inspiration from someone, but to directly take, as I did here for the example, directly take the person's image like they probably did and drop it into some AI, whether it's Midjourney or whether it's ChatGPT, and say, give me a variation of this, whatever, same concept, or describe it, and then use that. I think that's where that's kind of like foul. So you can use the inspiration and the idea and type in your own prompt or sketch it out yourself and feed that to AI, but don't just take somebody's image and drop it into AI to actually do this, because you will get something good, but you're not starting off. You're starting off with somebody else's creation is what I'm saying. And that's what's wrong. Now, I know, don't get into this conversation of, well, AI is creating it from other people. No, we're not going to go there. We're talking about specifically taking somebody's image, importing it into the AI and saying, take this image and just give me a variation for myself. And it doesn't change it. It just changes minimal things about it, but it's still the same image, composition and everything. So that's where I'm saying it's wrong. Anyhow, not going to get into the whole AI discussion because some people really get deep in that. And I have my own stance, and you know what? Everybody has their own belief and stances on it. So you do you, bro. Let me close those out. I got to keep this here because I need this. Let me go here and there. Okay. We'll try to focus on this for a second now. I love it. We've been on for about an hour. I'm just getting started. That's okay. That's how this rolls. All right. I'm going to grab this one. So let's make some folders. So what we want to do is we want to create a folder section. This is for blankets. So we like to have the artwork in one place. So we keep all the artwork usually in a place called Design Center. And the artwork in gallery, that's where we usually put it. But I'm going to double check to see if it's in work in progress first. New collection. And it's abstract animals. So they are still here. So before I move anything, I'm going to I'm going to take a quick look at Design Center, Artwork and Gallery, look at animals, and see if I have an abstract. If I do not, okay. So now we're going to make a new folder here. We're going to take this. I have a master folder that I use for everything. I don't know if you can see that, but basically this is a master folder. And this master folder has all of the other subfolders ready. So I don't have to worry about creating new folders within folders and so forth. So I go ahead and grab that. I create a new one, copy of it, and then I name it what the actual is. So I'm going to write abstract. I think it's abstract. Yeah, abstract. Are we going to do all three of them in here? Let me see what I did. Same with, yeah. No, abstract, Arctic wolf. So that's the first one. And then I'm going to grab that again. Actually, I still have it, so I'm going to copy paste it. And this one's going to be abstract. Arctic fox. That should probably be white fox, but I'm just going to keep it as Arctic. I don't know if that's what I'm going to name it, but that's what I'm naming it for my folders. And then the last one is abstract cat forest, or forest cat, I should say, backwards. So then we're going to paste that, take this, call it abstract forest cat. Okay. And that's kind of a little series there, so that's fine. So once I have that, then I have 3 folders in here. And these 3 folders are kind of the standard. There's a high-res folder. Let me go back, sorry. The high-res folder, there's an original folder, and there's a resize folder. Now, the reason why I have these 3 is because I like to take the original work. So in this case, this is the Arctic Wolf. So I'll take that, and then I'll look for the original. Now, obviously, this is not the original. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to go to original. And then here's the original right here. So I'm going to grab this original and I'm going to dump it. Well, actually, should I? Yeah, I should immediately grab that because it's going to go into artwork. And so it removes it from there. So that's an original. Then I'm going to take the high res, which is usually the one that says NWD, and it's a JPEG. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to put that one into high res. And then I go to abstract white wolf, which we renamed to Arctic Wolf. And this is where we do the resize. So we take the resizes, and the resize means that it's already sized to a specific dimensions based on what we need them for canvases, or in this case, what do you call those? The blankets. So I'm going to grab those and I'm going to drag those into resized. Perfect. Now I'm left with a couple of other possibilities here. Number one, I'm left with the mockups, and I'm also left with the throw woven blankets, which are, let me double check this. This is a throw woven. Why is there different ones? Let me double check why. Okay, because some of them are upgraded. Got it. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and make another folder. I'm going to go over to Enterprise. This is going to be the shop center. Now we're going to go to the Etsy shops. We're going to go to the design shop. Now we're going to look for blankets. Now, this is a different blanket. This is a Sherpa blanket. So I have to now create with this master file. This is a product, POD product master file. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste that. And here, I'm going to call this I believe it's Fleece Sherpa. I'm going to double check that. Let's see. Where is Printify? Oh, it's back here. Okay. Fleece Sherpa blanket. Yes, it is. Okay. So I'm going to make sure I call this one Fleece Sherpa blanket. And the reason why is because I have a velveteen plush blanket, I have a woven blanket, and then I have the Fleece Sherpa blanket. So they're three different files, 3 different mockups, whatever. And it's also, if I go into this, it has all the other ones. I'm going to go back. Now I got the fleece blanket. I'm going to open that up. And then in here, I have a master category. So master category is going to be something like animals. So take this, call this animals. Now I go into the animals one, and now it's master style and subject. So if I were to go back to woven blanket and I go to animals, you notice that it'll say, in these cases, William Morris Barn Owl 1 or winter rustic bear, William Morris spring bunny. And if I go into these, inside it's a mockup and template. So that's the pattern I have to follow. So what I want to do is I want to go back to Fleece Sherpa blanket, go to animals, copy this master style and subject folder, which already has the subfolders in it. And then this one, we're going to name abstract Arctic wolf. I'm trying to keep the naming simple because it's easier to find that way. I'm like, oh yeah, this is that white wolf in the with the geometric forms, whatever, and that's fine. So it's easier for me to, when I'm looking for it, I can just look at that name and be like, I know which one this is. And somewhere I actually have, and I actually need to update it. But for every product that I make, and I should say, really for any artwork I make, I tend to make a inventory list of an image of the actual artwork and then a description and a kind of a title so that I have kind of a database of images so I can just scan through and be like, yeah, this is it. And those are also in categories. All right, so I go in there now, and in here we have mockup and template. So here's the mockups, which are specifically for, hold on, I got to look at them now. Now I'm not sure. Let me open one up. They probably don't have any watermarks on them. Give me 1 second. Okay. Oh my goodness. My daughter sent me 3. Okay. 4 messages. Holy crap. Hold on. I'll be right back. Sorry guys. Give me a second. I gotta give my daughter something. Where is it? She needs some more of my logins. Crazy thing is, like, I don't remember. I remember where my login is for something. So I log out. I got it. I hate when I don't remember my passwords. I mean, I have a way of actually remembering them, but there's certain things like I don't remember if I used what I actually used for them. So log back in. Okay, so it is email related. Got it. Okay, so what the hell is the password? How is it remembering? Log out. Log out. Log in. Yeah, this is stupid. It's not. This isn't the same. Oh shoot. This is yeah, oh it is. Okay, got it. So I know what it is now. So let me go here. Okay. All right, I'll be right back. Let me just take care of this. I'm so hungry. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I had to really take care of something. Okay. So what was that? Okay, so it does have the design watermark. Take all these mockups, put them in mockup. Take these templates, put these in template. And now gotta find the additional mockups that we have. Actually, these are not the mockups. This is for Canvas. So I gotta go back. Hold on. I just realized these are for Canvas wall art. So we're gonna keep those separate. So that one. I think I have another one. That one. I don't think, do we have not, we don't have any more? We only have two? Oh, that, is that a blanket? Yeah, that was a blanket also. Okay. Let's put that one. So we have three. We're going to need more. Okay. So we got those. Abstract animal. We'll go back to animals. Okay. Put this bigger. Arctic white fox. These are resized. These are not the ones we need. I don't have the mockups for the blankets for this. That is odd. I have to find those. This is the high res. Where is it? Originals. Cat flowers. How come I don't have the blankets here? That's so weird. Okay. Let me just get the other ones in here first. Doesn't make any sense, but okay. I'll go with it. Original forest cat. I think it's this one. Let me double check. It's the one looking that way. Let me double check. I always get confused. I grabbed the wrong one. I knew it. I'm like, that one doesn't look right. It's this one. Good morning, Juan. How's it going, man? Good to see you. Let's see. Original would be this one. No, that's the mock-up. Original would be this one. Then resize. What are you doing, brother? How are you doing today? See, this one has the blanket. How come the other one doesn't have the blanket? Apparently, I had an Etsy account that I made years ago. Oh, look at that. Get some. You did? Did you remember the password and all that? You were probably a shopper. You were probably buying stuff. Were you buying stuff or selling? Were you set up as a seller? If you were, that's awesome because you just have to reactivate your shop. Oh, that's awesome. So you already had everything. Yes, seller, awesome. So you did you do all the obviously I can't show all of my stuff because I have like some info as far as addresses and whatnot, but Did you do the whole profile setup? Like it has the right address and all that? That's awesome, brother. Cool. Good to go. And you linked your Printify to it. Do you need to see an example of, or was the video that I did last time, the stream that I did the other day, did that help you? Or do you need to see, do you want me to show you an example of how to do the Printify stuff? Like go from listing to whatever. I kind of walked through it last time, but I think it was kind of quick. It was like a quick overview. You're good with Printify? Okay, awesome. So from Printify to Etsy, you have that set. You have that step. Good. You have to upload artwork and tweak the art. Okay. Can I just want to point out a couple of things just in case you're not familiar. And maybe you are. Maybe I talked about it a little bit. Like for example, this wolf one here. This is a blanket, so I'll just go. Oh no, I didn't want to duplicate, but that's okay. We can use that one later. Actually, that's okay if I did that because I probably duplicated it somewhere. It's all right. All right. Anyways, like this for example. Once you have those up there, and I need these. I forgot I had those. All right, so you have your title, whatever whatever your title is going to be, and this area. There's a couple areas I want to show. The tagged area, this area here, making sure that those kind of coincide with wherever you're putting up. If you don't know how to do the research for that, I can show you that later. But basically, that's important. Make sure you have the good tags. If you're selling outside of the US, like if you're selling in the UK or in Europe, you want to make sure you click on this. The tags have to be generic. They should be what people are searching for in regards to your type of item. I mean, even things like if it's for like a gift that's perfect for a woman, you could even use things like gift for her. Like what would somebody search for? This right here is important. This general product safety regulation required in the EU. I'm selling in the US only, not sure about the international. Okay, cool. And so then the other thing is down here to use economy also. And that will give it, 4 to 8 days versus 2 to 5 days. One's a little bit more. Once you have one listing already set up and you have that shipping profile done, if you're doing the same type of product, another listing for the same type of product, you can then just drop this down and use that same shipping profile that you created already for the other one. Otherwise, it's going to keep regenerating a new actual shipping profile, and then you'll have like, let's say you list 20 products, you'll have 20 different freaking shipping profiles when you could just have the one shipping profile for all of that same product line. Yeah, so that's important. Let's see what else. Obviously, if you're going to go straight from here, but you can edit the retail price in Etsy. You copy and paste? Not exactly, no. You just select it. Like, for example, if I were doing a canvas, I know the canvas when I look at the last numbers. Like I'll go to my Etsy listing and I'll look at which one is this one using that I've already established. And so I'll take that number and I know it ends with 9184 for my canvases. So that's the one I will choose. Now, if you notice, you see how here there's a second one? I don't use that one. And then eventually I got to go in and delete that. But that's because I didn't pay attention one day and it created a new freaking profile, shipping profile for that same product, for that same provider. And I'm just like, nope, always use this one because this is the one I went through and I actually edited and put the fixed price or whatever. So I don't want to have to do that all over again every single time. So that's why. So 9184 is the one I always use. So I always look for that one when it comes to canvases and for the other ones. Let me see, scrolling down the price stuff, you can set up yourself. You can always edit that in Etsy. If you're not ready to publish it, once you publish it, if you don't want to go live on Etsy, you do hide in store, so it won't, it's basically there, but it's not there. The last thing is make sure you have this checked for tags so that it puts the tags that you put in there. And that's it. Once you get in there, then you'll do the rest on Etsy. That's awesome, man. Well, I'm glad you're getting started. Are you okay with doing mockups? I gotta grab these in a little bit. Sorry, I'm showing this to you on a smaller screen, but I think you understand what I was talking about. Can you duplicate a previous item and replace the artwork? You can. So you do that by, that's what I actually did a second ago by mistake. So if I go to the first one, here I duplicated. See how it says copy Arctic Wolf artwork fleece Sherpa, whatever. Hold on, let me go to the big screen. I'll show this to you better. Sorry, bro, making you squint. Here. So there's a button here for any product you create. There's a button. There's 3 buttons here. The one in the middle is duplicate. When you click that duplicate, like I did earlier, it actually creates, and I'll make this a little bit bigger for you too. Give me 1 second. It will actually, after you press that duplicate, it would actually create one that says copy of blah, 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 whatever. And so once you have that, you go over to this little drawing freaking brush and you hit edit design. So now you can go to edit design. I gotta make this a little smaller so I can work in it. And in here, it has that old design, right? So it has everything set up, the variations I want to use, but I want to change the artwork. So I'm going to go and I'm just going to delete that one. And then I'm going to go to 60 by 80 and I'm going to delete this one. In this case, this is a blanket. So now I'll go back to 50 by 60. I'll go to library and let's say I'm going to make this blanket grow here. I'm just going to grab any one of these. It doesn't matter. So I'm going to grab this. And so if this is the image I'm going to use, if I'm using a different image for both, like a different image for the sizes, then I would have to click on this one and then I would add. Otherwise, I use the same one for all of them, but cropping is a problem when you're dealing with different sizes. So let's say I'm using this one here. Do the same thing. I'm just going to wrap that. So now it's done. And so when I go and I preview it, it's going to show me kind of what it's going to look like. And then, yeah, I like to do individual, like make the images for each one so that they fit properly. So anyway, so it gives me my mockups. Now I go to save product. And when I save the product, this is important. This is a part that happens in the background. So remember, it's a copy of Arctic Wolf. It will have everything like Arctic Wolf had. So it doesn't give you a new title. It doesn't give you a new description. All of that stays exactly the same. Obviously, the product feature, like as far as the description is the same. The care instructions is the same, obviously, but the description is going to be based on the wolf one. So you have to change those 2 things, title and description. And then the other thing is also the tags are not going to be changed. They're going to be exactly the same ones as you copied over. So that's the other thing. And then the last thing you need to be aware of that does change is that the SKU numbers are actually updated. So you get different SKU numbers for the new artwork. That's important. Okay, how big in pixels is your artwork in general? Okay, it depends on what I'm making. So for example, one of the things that I've gotten into when it comes to, let me go back to products here. And I'm going to delete this one for a second. When it comes to canvas art, for example, what I like to do, like that same image, let's go to edit, is I like to have my stuff resized to basically the biggest that I'm going to use. Large canvases and blanket. Okay. So for example, I already have a 24 by 36 that I have created. And if I look at my library, you'll notice I have a 24 by 36 here. For that 24 by 36, that was a file that I had already made. That's when I resized files in Photoshop to make them exactly the size that I need. However, a 24 by 36 is a specific ratio. I think it's a 2 by 3, if I'm not mistaken. So if I have a same ratio, aspect ratio, for that 24 by 36, but smaller, then I'm going to use the 24 by 36 on the smaller one. However, if I had a 2 by 3 ratio that was smaller than 24 by 36, and that was my core image that I had saved, I would not use that to upgrade, to put it on a 24 by 36, because my DPI would no longer be 300. It would be something else. So you want to always have the larger size that you're working on. Like, for example, you see how here it says 7200 by 10,800? Well, if you look at, when I click on these and I click on the info, a 24 by 36 needs to be at least 7200 by 10,800 pixels. So it does tell you. And then the other thing I notice is that when I look at my image, the layer, when I add it does say high resolution 300 DPI. Yes. And I always make it 300 DPI because that's high resolution. Now, there are some items or products, like blankets, for example, where it's not 300 DPI. And so I'll give you an example of that. And by the way, if you click on each one of these, once you have your settings, it will show you what they need to be over here on the side. 7200, 18 by 24 is this one. But I resize everything in Photoshop to be exactly 300 DPI at whatever size I needed. Unless it's smaller, then I have the bigger size and I can go down. A good example of that is this. 24 by 30 and 16 by 20 are basically the same aspect ratio, which is also, I believe, an 8 by 10, if I'm not mistaken. So I can use that one file, that 24 by 30, in the 16 by 20 and in the 24 by 30. And it does not lose anything. So if I look at the 16 by 20 and I look at the resolution, look at the resolution, 450 DPI, because it is at a larger size, it's at 300, and making it smaller, it's even more DPI. So it's even better. So that's, and if I even went to 8 by 10, it'd be incredibly, the DPI would be even huger than that. But I don't go that low. All right. Blankets. You were talking about blankets also. So let me get out of this, and I'm going to show you a blanket. Now, for example, let me go up here. Blankets are a little different. And I am going to recommend two things. Number one, let's say, for example, we are using this plush, velveteen plush blanket. It's a popular blanket. I'm doing a fleece Sherpa now, which has the fuzzy side. But let's say I go in here. I'm going to edit this design. There is something that the blankets offer you. Some of the other products offer this as well. If you make sure that you click on this little I button here in the design area, it gives you this important product information. This is what tells you, depending on whatever size you've chosen over here on the side as a variant, selecting variants, this will show you the production cost and also the print area size. Okay. Now, it also shows you here download design template. The reason why this is good is because this has the design template for the 30 by 40, the 50 by 60, and the 60 by 80. It should have all three. If it does not, then you have to download each one individually. When you do this, you open it up in Photoshop, and now you have the correct size, and then you also have the correct DPI on it. So when you drop your image into that Photoshop file, as I do in a moment, because I have to do that actually, you will see that because when you drop an image, it's a smart object. So if you stretch it out, it's not going to change it. So there you can tweak it, whatever, you make it what it is, and then you save that file. And that is the file that you upload in here. And you'll notice this file, look at the resolution. Even though it says high resolution, the blanket is set at 150 DPI. So this one doesn't have to be 300. because at 150, it's still high resolution for the blanket. So that's the difference. But yeah, this is great to have this download. I'll show you, for example, what I'm talking about. When I download the template, let me go to Photoshop here. Let me find a file first. So there is a file that I have. So I keep everything in mockup templates, and I'll have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 the steps, like Printify template downloads. So I have those. So in this case, I'll use the Velveteen blank plush blanket templates. Okay, this is the download from them. Like they have PNGs and they have a Photoshop file, and they also have an Illustrator file. I use the Photoshop file. So if I were to open this, I'm going to go ahead and open it. Give it a second. This is opening it up, and here's the template layered format of a 60 by 80, a 50 by 60, and a 30 by 40. Now, the good thing about this is that I could actually use this for, if I wanted to use it for the fleece Sherpa as well, it's the same company that makes the regular Velveteen plush blanket. And it also, they only offer it in like 50 by 60 and 60 by 80. So I would do these two. They'd be the exact same templates. So once I have this, sorry, let me just double check, make sure I did not drop here. You're going to have to up-res. I'm going to show you a couple of ways to do that. So by the way, do you have Photoshop? Do you use Photoshop or do you use something else? Yes. Okay, cool. Okay, so I'll show you how you can, you know how to do that, but that's basically, you're going to create when you do new, you'll create, let's say, a file. Let's say you're going to make a 16 by 20. So there's two ways I do it. Number one is I can create a file. Let's say the biggest size I'm going to make for a specific one is 24 by 36. No, let's say a 20. What was the other one? A 24 by 30? I can't remember. Let's just go 16 by 20. All right. So if I'm going to make a 16 by 20, let's say that's the largest size I'm going to make. 16 by 20, and then it says 300 DPI. I immediately can create this. And so now this is a 16 by 20. Now, why am I using 16 by 20? Because let's say I want to do an 8 by 10 also. I don't have to create a separate file for an 8 by 10. I'm making the largest size I'm going to use for that aspect ratio, which I believe it's a 4:5 aspect ratio for an 8 by 10 and a 16 by 20 and so forth. So that's the same aspect ratio, and I'm making the 16 by 20 that I can downsize to an 8 by 10. So now I have this file. It's a 300 DPI. I want to go ahead and put a file in there. So let's find a file that is small and that is low grade. I'm going to go to downloads. Hold on. I'm finding a file for us. Extra downloads. All right. I'm going to find, actually, this is perfect. This is perfect. So I'm going to grab this file here. I'm going to drag this over. This file is actually not properties. I'm going to double check. I'm going to look at information details. Yes. This file, before I even say okay, and I know you can't read this, so I'm going to read it for you. The resolution for this file is 96 DPI. So it's basically, internet. So let's say I'm going to use this one. So now I just dragged it in here. I'm going to go ahead and press enter. Now, you'll notice two things. If I can find my freaking layers. Yeah, they're down here. You probably can't see it because it's really small, but it is a smart object. Or it's it's basically a smart object, which means that just like a vector, if it's a smart object, I can make it smaller, I can make it larger. And no matter what I do, it's going to say the same. It's going to be fine as far as it's not going to get blurry or anything like that because it's a smart object. If I were to change this, right click and make it into a rasterized layer, now if I were to resize it, it's going to be fuzzy. It's going to screw it up. So always make sure if it's not already a smart object, you can convert it to a smart object. And therefore you can resize it. Now, obviously I want to make this as big as this thing here. So let's say I'm going to crop it. So I'm going to go ahead and make this, we'll make it nice. We'll do this. So there we go. I just made it into a 300 DPI 16 by 20 when it originally was a small 96 DPI freaking file. All right, now I'm going to export it. They're all JPEGs. Well, this one was a PNG, but it is supposed to be a JPEG because this was a PNG file. So now I'm going to export it. So I'm going to hit export. I'm going to go to export as, and I'm going to make sure that mine says JPEG, which I always do it to JPEG because it's a smaller file. If I do it to PNG, it's going to be a huge freaking file, and I don't need it to be that. So I'm going to go ahead and make it into this JPEG. It says 4 megabytes, whatever. So I'm going to export, and I'm just going to call this one Wolf Cub, whatever. All right. So technically, I am done now. There's the file there. And if I take that file, I'm just going to put it off on the side for a second so you can see it. If I take that file and I go back to Printify, and then I'm going to use well, let's make it into a blanket. So let's go back to Photoshop. I'm going to go to here. You see how it's a 60 by 80? Now, what was the size? I did 16 by 20, and this is a 60 by 80. Now, remember, it's a 300. This file that I have up here that I just made is a 300 DPI file, right? It's already upscaled, and it's a 16 by 20. Two things. Number one, it's smaller than these sizes that I need it. Number two, it's higher resolution than a 150 that I need here. But I can still use it because it's a smart object. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to drop it into one of these here. So I'm just going to make sure I'm in the right place under design for a 16 by 80. That's the right layer. I'm going to drop it right in there. And notice how small it is. But watch this. I'm just going to go ahead and grab it. I'm going to drag it out here. Center it. Press enter. And this file, I'm going to turn off these top thingamajiggies that I don't need. Sorry, wrong one. And now that right there, making a smart object is an option in PS. It is, but when you when you drag a file onto it or place a file on, it automatically becomes a smart object. It will only not be a smart object when you have rasterized it because you have to cut something out of it or modify it or whatever, but always convert it back to a smart object if you're going to resize it. And so here it is. It's now made into this huge, but it's a 150, but remember it was a 300, but it was tiny compared to what I needed. So I'm going to do the same thing. And now since I've already done this, I can just copy this and I'm going to paste it into the other ones. So I'm just going to do that real quick. So I'm going to paste it there. It's now in that layer. It's still a smart object, so I can move it around and get it where I want it. Press enter. That one's done. We turn off the guides. Let's go to the last one. So we still have a copy and paste in there. I'm going to go to this one. I'm going to put it into the right layer. And now I got to make it smaller there. It's still a smart object, so I can still modify it any way I want. And now I just made the template for the blanket for 3 different sizes. Now I'm going to export. So now export as, and it's going to do the same thing, JPEG format, because that's what my format setting usually is. It's going to take a moment. It's making the 3 files because they're 3 artboards. So it's making the 3 different sizes. It already has a name because these are named by the size of the files or the size of the blankets. I'm going to hit export. I'm going to put it in downloads. And in this case, I'm going to make a new folder just because I don't want to lose this one. So I'm going to say Wolf Cub because I might have something else. So let me put it in there. I'm going to select folder, saves it. Let's let that finish. Okay, once it's saved, here are the 3 files. Sorry. So now the 3 files are done, right? Okay, now I'm going to get out of Photoshop. Go back here. This is my blankets. Did I make a copy of this one? I did not. So let's make a copy of this one. We'll do a copy of this one right here. So I'm going to duplicate this. Where's my copy? Here's my copy right there. Make sure you get the copy. I'm going to edit that. I'm going to get rid of these images from each of the sizes. Each size is using its own, revert to default or not. This one's using its own. That's why it has a little blue sign. So now I'm going to drag from here into there. And the first one I need is a 30 by 40. So remember, they are labeled 30 by 40, 50 by 60, 60 by 80. So I'm grabbing the right one. I'm dragging it right in there. And now there it is. It's perfectly sized. Okay, now I go to 50 by 60. I'm going to grab the 50 by 60. Boom, I'm going to drop it in there in the library. It's adding it to the library. Boom, perfectly sized. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to drag it, nothing. It's perfect because it's using their template. Here's a 60 by 80. I'm going to grab that one, drop that in there. And this one's a little bit larger, so it might take a little bit longer. But that's done. Boom, there you go. Now, if you check, remember, their template wanted it at 150 DPI. We started with 96, upscaled it to 300 when we made it a 16 by 20, and then we dropped it back down to 150 when we put it into their template. Each one of the resolutions for each one of these images on these blanket sizes is now set to 150 DPI. It is ready to go. The files that you put in here remain now in your library. So now you have them here and you can use them for other products if needed and if they fit. So that's done. My next step is to preview. So now I preview and I like to look at not just the front, but I like to sometimes look at it as like maybe it's on the bed or something so I can see what it actually looks like. This is the biggest size, a 60 by 80. And so it's showing it there. Then I look at the 50 by 60 and I'm looking at the same image just to see, you know, how it changes in size, whatever. Sometimes I just look at the front one. Depends what the product is. There it is there. Obviously it is smaller, but that bottom white part is not the blanket. The blanket is just a whole image. Then I go to the smaller one to see it. And, you know, once you know what it looks like, you don't have to do this, but as long as you stayed within the guidelines, there they are. It's all done. So that's once you have that, that's it. You're good to go. You hit save product. I'll tell you in a second. And now if I wanted to change these mockups, which is what you're asking about now, do you use the Printify product samples in Etsy? So what you're talking about is not the samples, they're called mockups. Do I use these mockups? Yes and no. There's a couple of different things that I do personally. Let me show you, first of all, the mockups that they give you are not really, they're not always that great. And one of the biggest things that sells with Etsy is what draws the eye. And if your mockups look like everybody else's, like everybody's using this mockup, then other than the artwork, it's really not going to stand out. So there's a couple of things that you can do. Yeah, they're okay, exactly. But like, yeah, you can use this this one if you want, but it just has a white background, so that doesn't do anything. You can use this one, it's a bed, but that really doesn't do anything. So what do you do for mockups? Now, obviously, Etsy has people that sell mockups. So in this case, it's a velveteen blanket, right? So you do velveteen. This is one option, blanket mockup. So this is one option. If you do this, give it a second, then you have people that are selling these mockups. Now, not all of them are the best. Like this is a woven blanket. You can't, if you're doing a velveteen one, you can't use a woven blanket one. It's a different thing. So you want to find the one that's velveteen. You also can filter out for best sellers and all of that stuff. But in this particular case, I'm just looking for one. Like for example, this one right here. This is only one picture. They're only giving you one and they're saying it's $1.77. So I can buy one for $1.77, or I can go down and find something that may be like a bundle fleece Sherpa velveteen, $3.60. They have 120 of them. And I'm like, you know what? They've got a bunch. Is it going to be, are all of them going to be usable? Do you think all of them are going to be great? Probably not. But if you have something like 120 possibilities to choose from, the chances of finding just 10 is a pretty good chance. You know what I mean? That's a pretty good ratio. All you need is 10, and you don't even need that many. So chances of finding one in a big bundle like this for like $3.60 is pretty good. Now, there are two things, though, that I like to double check on. Sometimes they are PSD files, meaning that you can take them and then they have a layer, like I was showing you with the template, and you can drop in your art, and then automatically it will add it to wherever the image is set up to go. That's number one. Sometimes you don't have that. Sometimes it's like a JPEG format and you have to like fit it in there and do some cropping, whatever, and then it doesn't work. Other times it's like Canva. It'll have this open space like you see here. And in fact, I will show you how they're doing it. This is an example. I believe this is Canva. And so they take theirs, they put it up there, then they put it as a layer, and then it goes behind the actual opened area. So if you can tell, there it is there. They're doing this layer. They're sending it to the back, and it does that. Okay, two things wrong with this. Number one is that depending on how the photo mockup is set up for the image to show, just throwing it to the background may not necessarily show exactly how your thing is laid out. Like this, you see how it's sideways here? This is the bottom. You know that they should have taken this mockup when they were showing it to you. Let me see when I can show it to you, layer right here. When they did this part, I'm going to pause it. When they did this, they should have rotated it a little bit because of the fact that the way that this mockup is set up, it's showing it as diagonal. So therefore, the image should go diagonal. So these are a couple of things to keep in mind. There are some like I have some templates, and that's going to be the second part that I'm going to show you in a second. So, but anyways, you will find some good ones. And like I said, $3.60 is not a lot of money when it comes to these, as long as you can work with them. And sometimes you read through and see if they say PSD file. If they say PSD file, you're golden because that means they have layers. If they don't say that, chances are they're just JPEGs, or PNGs, and then you have to just kind of put a layer behind the other one, and then you have to manipulate it. So it is possible. It is easy. It's not difficult. Let me go back for a second. So if you do this, you can also do PSD in the search. So that's one way. And listen, they're very low cost. This is a one-time investment. You invest in it, you use them over and over. So that it's whatever you pay for it, think of it as an investment that's going to work with you for long run. I've invested in a few of these, even though I make my own in some cases, because for blankets, they're really useful. So let me show you that because I actually have to do one right now. So if you buy them, let's go to now. So I have to go to my next step, which is number 2, resizing. I've done that. Frame mockups, only matted. Let me look for the ones that I'm looking for. Velveteen template, PSD. Is that the one? Hold on, let me double check. Digital mockups. I always forget where I put these, so that's why. These are for prints. I think this is it. Maybe not. No, that's not the one. Give me 1 second. I'm so sorry. I have so many files. It's ridiculous. So I got to go back out here. I might have to do it this way. So resources, purchase products. Yeah, I might have to do it here. Okay. So sometimes I buy these. I'm surprised I don't have this already set up somewhere. I usually do, but it's okay. It doesn't matter. Let me look, see if I can find a velveteen one. This is the woven blanket. That's a chart. These are some that I've bought, and I always forget which is which. That's pillows. I have these set up somewhere. I don't know why I can't find them. Free blanket mockup Canva font. What the hell, man? Okay, I think this is it. Yeah. All right. So this is a good example. So I bought these. I do have this. I don't know why I can't find it. Shame on me, right? I know I have these. Hold on. I already have mine set up because those are tons. And I know I have this already. I don't know why. I usually have it in my area that I need it in. Let me see. Maybe it's under Shop Center. I'm going to go to Shops just in case. Designs. These are, no, these are not. Is it? Nope. Nope. These are all the products. Let's go back. It's not under design. It's not under Etsy shops. It should be under Design Center. It's not business. Let me double check. Branding, receipts, no. Wow. I know. Shut up. It's under Design Center. It's got to be here. Okay. Work in progress. Let's see. Digital products. Product for print. Canvas. Pending pillows. Nope. I had to reorganize all my stuff. So that's why some of the stuff is organized, some is not. So let's see. Printify templates, resizing images. Let's look at this one. Yeah, I think they are. They might be here. Let's see. Frame mockups, 12 mockups collection, wall art, wall mark. Okay, that's not it. Give me 1 second. Only matted mockups, Epson printer templates, digital mockup files, print ratio, TV desktop. Okay, these are for digitals. We're getting closer. Give me a sec. We're getting closer. Trust me, you're going to be so happy when I show you. Ceramic ornaments, pillow covers, woven blanket templates. That's size chart, template. Let me look at this one. I'm not sure if this is it, but we're going to open it anyways. It's so weird. I must have not put it with the rest of them. That stuff pisses me off. Okay, this is an example of one, but this is a woven blanket. Let's do the other one. Hold on. The other one's better. Okay, perfect. This is the one. Yeah, I forgot. Okay, so I did buy these. So remember a second ago I was showing you, I showed you this. All right, so I bought these from an Etsy person, okay? And they have all of these PNGs. These are PNGs. So they have all of these, and you put them into Photoshop and you use them or whatever, and it shows you how to actually do it. So I picked from another provider which ones I wanted to use, and then I created a file for myself. And that's what I did with Photoshop here. I created these one, two, three, four, five, six little artboards, right? And what I do in each one is I go ahead and add the blanket. So in this case, I'm just going to put this for fun. So here it is. It's your artwork here. So I got to find a file. Give me 1 second. I know which file I'm using. That was that. This is that. Did I have any other ones? Yeah, this is the one. Okay. Let me bring this up here. Go back up to the freaking cat. No, the fox. Where is the freaking fox? I need to actually make this one. So here we go. So resizing. Perfect. So I have not made the blanket for this one yet, the actual velveteen plush for this. So now I have to take this and drop it in each individual one. But because we're not going to do that right now, we're just going to use what we have. I'm going to use the blankets that we have instead, which are these. Okay, those are the little wolf ones. So I'm going to go back to this one. I'm going to do a 50 by 60 might be the one that we're using. Let me do the view larger so I can see what I'm doing. All right, so then I'm going to drop that in there. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Now this is like a smart object within a smart object. Okay? It's a layered object. I'm putting you on a spot. No, man, I do this all day long, and it's funny because I need to find this file anyways. So it's fine. Trust me. I go back and forth with this. I work with so many different files and so many different products that I take a moment to be like, okay, hold on, where's everything? And it's like kind of like gathering all your paints and your brushes and whatever. Same process. All right, so there it is. It's inside the PSB file. So I close that. I say yes. And I go back to the Velveteen blanket. And if you notice, I'll bring this down. There it is. So I put it in this one. Now let's add it to this one. So I'm going to click on that one. I'm going to go to that smart object. Then I'm going to grab the smaller one because it's a little thinner. And I'm going to do that. I'm just going to put it right in the middle. Close that. Say save. And now when I look, there it is. So see how it added it to that? That's perfect. So I'm going to go to the next one. I'm going to do this one here. So I'm going to double click on that. Is this the right one? Let me double check. No, it's this one. Okay, perfect. So I got to go to this one. I got to find the actual image file. Are these JPEGs? Yes, they are. Like they can be once. No, see, they're not JPEGs. They're PSD files, which means they're layered. They're Photoshop files, but you export them as JPEGs. Okay, so then that one is going to be probably this long one here. So I'm going to put that there. Make this bigger, a little bit bigger to cover the area. Again, they're all smart objects, so moving them around like this doesn't mess up their quality. No, you don't do this on JPEGs. This is all PSD. You're dropping in the JPEGs into the smart object. Here, I'll show you in the smart object layer. But yeah, this is the file. The actual picture of the wolf is a JPEG. But then I'm putting it into the PSB file, which is the placeholder for this object. So I close that. And so there it is. So now, which has the template. Exactly. So in this case, like see here, that's the wrong one. See, there it is there. And all that is because it's holding it in place. So if I turn off the background, that's all it is. It's actually behind in that actual, it's in that actual object, that layer, that smart object, which by the way, you make it by making a rectangle. I do the same thing for my frame. I'll show you what I do for my frame art in 1 second. You'll see this because that one probably is easier to understand. But this is so we did that one. Oops, look, it moves around. It's right on it. But do you notice it's like a blanket? Let's put it back where it goes. I usually lock those, by the way, so that way I don't have that mistake. So let me finish a couple of these real quick. I'm gonna run through these, see which one this one is. So it really doesn't matter which one it is as long as it's one of the smart objects. Drop that in there. Do these. And again, this was ones that I bought, so they were easy. And I'm going to show you another way of making mockups in a second. So I'm going to close this one. By the way, I'm not going to sell this blanket. This is just for examples. Oh, where did I put? Oh, there it is. So this one went down here. Stop moving it. What did I just do? Okay. I got to lock those. I always forget. Let me see if I can find this one. I always forget which is which. This is the dog. So this is the dog down here. Let me do the dog one. This one's sideways. So this one is a little bit different. And I'll show you why. So if I take this, let's look at it again. See how it's this way, but it's going to put it sideways if I do it. So what I want to do is I want to do the bottom of it. So let's go to this. This one's a little tricky. Let's see if it works. So I'm putting it this way, but I'm going to stretch it out. I want to see, all I want is the bottom of it. See if that works. Now I might want it a little lower, so maybe I'll do this. See what happens there. So we close that, close this one. And so see how now it puts it this way? If I had rotated it to fit the entire thing, then the head would be on the left-hand side. So therefore, I'm using your noodle on this one. So that one's a good one. I got one more. I got two more. All right, so let's do this one, then we'll switch over to the other one. This one is, let's see, I can't remember which one this one is. Should be this one. Okay. Mockup 3. This was really slim. So it's only a little bit of it. Just going to put that in. I'm just going to put it there. You don't want to make it too big because you still want it to be realistic to what it's being placed on. So say yes. So you'll notice it's there on this one. We got one more. And then, wait, I think, are we done? Oh, we're done. Okay, perfect. So now we're done with them. And so again, I'm going to hit one button, export. Export as, not quick export, because a lot of people do quick export as PNG. Files are way too big. I want to see her without the blanket. Stop it. No. These are labeled mockup 1 through 6. I'm going to export all of them. I'm going to put them in the Wolf Cup folder for now, just because it's in sample. And here they are. So now, if I show them to you, open with photos. There they are. So this is the best one. So there you go. So there we have some mockups. So that's one way of doing it. Another fancy way of doing it is ChatGPT. ChatGPT will actually do it for you. It is, you obviously you have to pay for it. That's one way. But yes, we'll try with ChatGPT in a moment, but I'm going to show you the best AI tool that I found recently. I've had this tool forever and I never use it because I'm like, I don't really need it, because I use Midjourney mostly and I use ChatGPT. But this tool, I have it up. I have it opened already. Where the heck is it? Have so many windows open. Here we go. Okay, perfect. So Leonardo AI has a free option. I don't know how much they offer you. The thing is, there's the tokens that they offer you per day is not enough to do what I'm going to show you. But they start as low as like 10 something a month or whatever. But here's the thing. They give you a certain number of, you got ads. Okay, I'll wait. Gives me a second to catch my breath. Ads are a pain. That's why if you watch me on YouTube and you've got YouTube Premium or something, you don't have to worry about that. If you have Turbo Twitch, you can also not worry about that either. Hey, he just subscribed. Thanks, man. I appreciate you. Nice. He has to refresh now. Refresh. Refresh your screen. Yeah, otherwise the ads keep playing even if you're subscribed. Okay, you're here. Awesome. Good to see you, man. Hey, thanks for the sub, man. I appreciate you, brother. Really, you didn't have to, but it's easier for you to be able to see stuff. Okay, so Leonardo AI is something that I've used before for a long time, and I really don't use it a lot because I have Midjourney, and there's so much to Leonardo that it gets overwhelming, even for me. And so if I look at like I think they have account settings, but I don't think I can go there right now. All right, that doesn't matter. Anyways, but I found this feature recently. Like I'm talking about like the end of last week. I found this feature, and I was like, wait, what? I can't believe they have this. And it's called Blueprints. Is this free or paid? So it's free, but it's pay also. And unfortunately, the part I'm going to show you, you don't get enough tokens on the free one in order to use it. So it's paid, but I still want to show it to you because it's so down the road is so worth it. Okay, I need to show it to you. So it's called Blueprints. If I go to Blueprints, they have a bunch of different blueprints. And the first thing when you see this is stupid. I would never use this stuff. I don't want to make people, like I don't want to put my friends as a warrior or whatever, or my dog in a Christmas, so you automatically see this and you're like, hell no, I would never use this. But if you scroll down and you get past that idea and you think of what you're really using this for mockups, there is one of these mockups down here, if I can find it. Here it is here. Product in scene. I'm going to go ahead and click on it so you can see it. So product in scene generates a professional photograph of your product. And basically, the AI will will intelligently place it in an appropriate context. This is for product photography and marketing. This is freaking amazing. Now, it does cost 120 tokens each one. For me, it's not a big deal. I still have 89,000 left that I won't use. I still won't use it by the end of the month. So anyways, watch this. So I'm going to take a blanket. Okay. First off, I need to make sure I'm giving it a blanket. So I need to go back. Hold on a second. I'm going to go to Printify. Where's Printify? Where's my Printify? Give me 1 second. Ah, here it is. Okay. I'm going to go to Printify. I'm going to take this one, which is already here. So let me save selections. It doesn't matter. So this is the mock-up that it's given me, right? This is the mock-up that Printify gave me. 89,000. Dude, I had 95,000 last week. And I always have 95,000 because I never use it. In fact, this coming March, I was going to cancel this, but now I'm not going to cancel it, but I'm going to get the next level lower and get it with Canva maybe. So anyways, check this out. So this is the white freaking blanket mock-up that I gave you. I'm going to copy this image. I think I can just copy and paste it. We'll double check. And, oh, maybe not. Maybe I'll just drag it. Okay, so let me put it up here. Let's go down here. And let's drag that image right down here. So all I'm doing is I'm dragging that plain mock-up image of a blanket, which looks just like a poster. And I'm going to put it here, and I don't write anything. All I'm going to do is hit generate. This is going to blow your mind. I've done this a couple of times in the past couple of streams. You've probably seen it. But if not, get ready to have your mind blown. Blown away. Okay. Now, the first one's not always the best, but they give you 3 options on this one. And I'll click on all of them so you can see them. But let me finish. It's doing the last one. And it takes about a minute or less. So they're done. So I'm going to click on them so you can see them. So it automatically adds it. Now, first one, it takes it as just as it is, just an image. And this is the exact same image, and it puts it on the floor next to a bunch of things. It's a small blanket. Then it'll take it and put it into a picnic table and put it there. Now, that's not a good one, but let's see what it does for the third one. And then the third one, it wrapped it over. Now, this isn't good because it's giving it an edge. So this is disappointing me right now. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. I'm going to run it again. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to say generate again. Now, it knows that it's a blanket. That's the key to this. Now, those were not good compared to the examples that I've gotten before, because it literally puts it on a chair or over a sofa or on a bed. Look, here it is. There it is. That's the one I wanted. So now it gave me 3 other ones. So let's open this one up. Sorry, do it this way. And look at that. So it just gave me a mock-up. It knows it's a blanket. It throws it up there. Give me a look at the next one. Same thing. Puts it right there. That is just like the blanket I have. And of course, it'll give you a flat one. It always gives you a flat one. That is perfect. Now, I'm going to show you one that we created. We were testing this last week. And this is what was crazy. Let me see. Can I go all the way up? My generations. Okay. Last week I said, what if I gave it a t-shirt? And I want you to see what it did. These are all the ones I was doing. I was messing around with this so much. Okay. Last week I gave it a t-shirt. And it did this. That's normal. It did this. That's normal too. But this, that's crazy. It actually put it on a person. That's insane. You don't have to type anything. And not only that, I want you to keep something else in mind. Every time you do one of these mockups with this blueprint, it looks at the image or the content of the art of the design, and it then takes that and makes it into the theme of the actual mockup. So this was a Halloween t-shirt. Notice it has, yeah, I don't care about her fingers. I can always fix that. But and nobody's really looking at that. They're looking at the t-shirt. But look at the little, it puts pumpkins, it puts the fall decor, it has fall trees outside, it looks a little rainy. It's the inside looks a little like, it looks like autumn. So it takes the design into account when it's actually creating these mockups. In fact, if I go all the way up, let's go back to the ones we made now. So there's a lot of them, man. Okay. Even the ones we made now, you notice that it's kind of made it like a woodsy theme, which is crazy. See the colors, they all match the mockup. So that's amazing. So it does that. So anyway, so that's another way of making them. ChatGPT does do them. I can't do it right now, but ChatGPT does do it. Also, and because you can give it the image of the blanket, and you can say to it to make a blanket. Make this is my new blanket I'm designing. I want to list it on my Etsy shop, blah, 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 whatever. I have a GPT that I use specifically for this. And then once you do that, you can say, to make you a mock-up, and it will make a mock-up of the blanket. And it will drape it on something. Or you can take, where is it? Why did it? I don't know why it did this. I don't want it in there. Get it out of there. Seriously. Oh my God. It put it together. I don't know why. You can take. I don't know why it did this. Let me see context. I'll see this one. The bad thing about this particular blanket is that it doesn't show it on a chair, but on the other ones that I was using, it showed them on one of the mockups it uses is the chair. And even if I took this one, for example, if I took this image, let me wait till it loads up. That was Leonardo AI, and the section that I was using was called Blueprint. So if I had taken this and threw this in ChatGPT, which I don't know if I'm still logged. Let me see if I can log into ChatGPT. I don't know if my daughter was using it for a second. But anyways, if I took this and I said to it, hey, can you make the room, whatever, look like something else, or, give it some prompt, it will actually create the actual file, make it look like a different setting. So that's another way of doing it. So ChatGPT is another great way of doing it. If you're doing blankets, I would suggest, because you have Photoshop, I would suggest investing in one of these. Like if it's, depending on which blanket you're doing, if you're doing a woven blanket, look up woven blankets. If you're doing a velveteen plush blanket, look up velveteen. If you're doing a Sherpa fleece blanket or fleece Sherpa blanket, which is the ones I'm doing next, look up one of those. But if you can get good mock-ups that you can just, like this one says PSD smart object. That's definitely something you want. Like if I click on that one, and they might be a little more expensive, but not a lot. And you can find some. But if you can get these, this is the greatest way to start. But once you get familiar with what you're doing, I would say that the Photoshop is really easy to use for the frame ones. Now, let me tell you why I say that. And this will blow your mind too. I'm all about blowing the mind today. Okay, let me go up. Let me go up to my mockups and templates, okay? So my third step in this stuff is frame mockups for prints, okay? Which is also for canvases, but you can just use these. So let's say I do a frame mockup. Can I use one of these? Which one's the latest one I used? This one. Okay, so let's see. Maybe this is one of them. Oh, no, that's the one for the 12 layer. Okay, well, that's not the one I want. Let me close all these out. Say yes to that. Close. Close. Say no. Close. Nope. Okay, let me find you the ones that I'm talking about. 12 by 18. Frame mockup 12 and the close one. Let's do the 12 by 18 maybe. Let's try that one. Okay, this is a good example. So I created this file. This is in Photoshop. And what I did was I made, in this case, 8 artboards. But I made the first artboard first. And then I kind of duplicated the artboards. Because what I did was I created artboards with a smart object where the image would be in the frame. So all of these are actually smart objects where it shows you where the image is, right? So all I'm doing is if I take this file and I change it to something else. In this case, I'm going to use this little guy. Let's use a small one. So I'm going to throw this in there instead of that picture we were using before. That was for a limited series. And I'll go ahead and delete that one. So now I have that image, that one we've been testing with. And I'm going to close this. I'm going to hit yes. So now it takes that image and in one quick, I just had to adjust that when I moved that before. You see how like you can see the white on these? You just adjust them. For the most part, depending on the image you put in, you might have to just adjust them a little. But just by putting that one image, it added them to all the different mockups, all the different mockups that I have up here and different frames. And that's ready to go. Now all I have to do, make sure like I look at them, they all look good. I'm good. All right, yeah. I might make this one a little bit bigger because I see some white there. Press enter. That's all done. And then all I have to do is export them and they're saved into a folder and I'm done. So these are already done. They have my watermark on them. They have a watermark logo on top of the image. So, you know, I'm just extra careful. But once again, if I decide, okay, I'm going to do the next image. So now I'll go in here again. It doesn't matter which one I click on as long as it's one of the smart objects because they're all tied together. They're all the same one. So now let me go to another image. I'll go to downloads. Let me find one here. Give me a second. I'm trying to find one. All right. Yeah, let's use Milo. Milo's perfect. Okay. So we'll throw this one there. And again, remember, it's a smart object, so I can resize it and it won't change it. So we'll put that there. It's my buddy Milo. Turn off the other one. Don't need that one anymore. Save this. Boom. There you go. Those are done. And now I noticed that this one needs to be bigger. Once I set it to what it's supposed to be, then I just save it and it's fine. But I noticed that for some reason, there's a little bit of white showing in this. But this is in the back, so it doesn't matter. I can make it bigger. It's always going to be behind. It's the layer behind the frame. So it doesn't matter how big I make it. Even if I made it like, look, if I did this, it doesn't matter because it's still behind it. But that's it. That's perfect. So now there you go. I have eight freaking mockups ready to go. And I just throw them over. And so I have multiple PSD files like this with frames already made. And therefore, I don't have to, they're all ready with a different scene in the back or whatever. So all I have to do is choose the layout that I want, choose the frames that I want, and then just throw the image in and I'm done. So that's another way. So once you start creating your own mockups, and by the way, these background images, they're all AI. These were all created with AI. I use Midjourney to create this. These particular ones were ChatGPT. And the way I did these, hold on a second. Let me double check, see if my daughter's not using it. So let me show you. So this is what's great. ChatGPT is $20 a month, guys. $20 a month. If you think about the number of Starbucks you buy, or the number of times you eat out for lunch or something, you can pay $20 a month. It's not. I mean, I'm just saying, if you go to Starbucks and you eat out every day or something like that, if you just skip one of those times, you can probably pay for this per month. So ChatGPT is really a good tool to use. I'm gonna log in. I want to show you this because if you are selling on Etsy and making mock-ups, even just selling on Etsy, even if you're not making mock-ups, you need ChatGPT. I'm sorry. Anything that you're doing that needs to write details, to create mock-up images for you, even just to give you like, hey, what's trending, questions you want to ask it, research, whatever, I don't know why you would not have ChatGPT. I mean, if you want to use Grok, use Grok. I don't use Grok. I've always used ChatGPT. I'm OpenAI since day one. So that's kind of what I'm using. Let me make sure that I am logged in. All right. So I'm going to show you this because, first of all, I do make my own GPTs that I use for each shop and for different things that I do. So therefore, these are already set up exactly. They're like my little robots. They do exactly what I need them to do for each one of those. There's also projects you can do that. But what I want to find you is, I'm going to do it from a script, from scratch. So I'm going to say that we're going to use the Milo picture. Okay. So this is a Milo picture. I'm going to drop it in here. And this is the image I'm going to give it. And I'm going to say to it, this is a new art print that I am selling in my Etsy fine arts print shop. Actually, no. They were selling in my home decor shop, Etsy shop. And you can get as detailed as you want. I like to be very detailed. Etsy shop. And it already knows I have these. So even if I say, hey, you know which one it is, it knows what it is. This is a new art print that I am selling in my home decor shop as a canvas wall art. As canvas wall arts. Please generate a mock-up of this art piece as a canvas. Now you can be literal. You can like make it this as long as you want, make it short, whatever. Let me close this so it's easier to see. Okay, and to art piece as canvas of this art piece as a canvas. Period. All right. Now the room should be appropriately matching the art piece itself. Art piece design and colors. Let's see what happens. So now we'll do that. I will let it run. Oh, also keep in mind that Etsy prefers their mock-up images, their mock-up files to be 1:1 aspect ratio. Okay, now we run it. So it's looking at my dog Milo. It's taking this, and now it's creating an image. Now, I would say 8 to 9 times out of 10, it gets it on the first try. There's a couple of times where it might change the aspect ratio of the image itself. So let's say, for example, I was doing only 12 by 18s of a specific series. And I didn't want it to change the aspect ratio of the canvas because of the fact that I was only offering one specific size. And so it actually would change the size of the image like it did here. Like, see how I made it a square one? But that's because of the fact that I said to it that it needed to be an aspect ratio of 1:1. I meant the mock-up, not the actual image. So this is where, this is the 2 times or the 1 time out of 10 that it will actually screw it up. But let's focus on the stuff that it did do. It did incorporate it into a mock-up image that is appropriate to matching, or matchingly appropriate, whatever you want to say, to the design and color of the actual art piece. So you'll notice that there's like green pillows. It's a little soft, like the tone of it. There's a lot of green. There's a lot of beige. So it actually fits what we're putting out there. So that's good. So what did it do wrong? It actually got this image wrong. That's it. The matching was great. So it changed this because of the canvas size. So what I want to do is I notice that sometimes the best way to do this, and by the way, I'm just going to download this as an example. The best way to do this sometimes is to start fresh. And so I'm going to do that by deleting this piece here. And I'm going to just delete that. And instead, I'm doing a new chat. I'm going to drop the same image, and I'm going to be a little bit less explicit. I'm just going to say, generate a mockup for an Etsy listing. Mockup for this canvas wall art. And there's a reason why I'm saying canvas wall art. Canvas wall art for an Etsy listing. All I'm going to say is make sure the setting matches the artwork and colors. Period. So we're not getting into the aspect ratio or anything like that. We're just going to let it do its thing. And we're not going to say make it square because sometimes it forgets. Now, if I would make this a project or I would make this a GPT agent, I would feed it this information as a standard for it to always follow that pattern. But because this is just a plain, simple little chat, just off the cuff, we're not giving it all the information. So in this case, we made it a lot simpler. We're not going to give it no boundaries. We're not going to tell them aspect ratio. We're not going to confuse it. And now it's giving me a couple of different things. Mockups directions match to your work. Okay. So now it's giving me a couple of different ideas here. So let's see if it's actually going to generate, or it's going to ask me something. So this is where sometimes it gets confused. 3 variations. This piece is strong motion and a quiet center. Generate one of the asks. Okay. So generate. Maybe it's create. Let's just say generate. Those mockup images. So sometimes it gets confused. And in this particular case, and it has a lot to do with the way I work with it. So a lot of times I'm having a conversation with it and I it knows who I am. And it tells me, because it knows I want a mockup, it's going to ask me, it's going to kind of tell me, this is the direction you should go. And it's give me some examples. It's going to explain it. It's going to explain the design. It's going to explain why. So all of this information is great information if I'm looking for what my mockup should look like, what best fits this artwork, so that I can get an idea of what that is. Then it also tells me if it matches, my home decor audience is 25 to 45. It'll tell me if it matches them. It also says it feels calm and emotional, which is nature therapy interiors for Pinterest 2026. And so it really does follow everything that I've ever talked to about that it has in memory. So in my case, it already knows how I work, but you can get there. Now here, again, it's still cropping it, but because of the fact that I'm not set on any specific size, this doesn't matter. This is still a good mock-up. But the other part of this is that I could just take this and replace the image by just going in Photoshop, removing this image, and putting the size of whatever I want on here. Whatever canvas. Maybe I'll put extra canvases next to it. I don't know. Maybe I'll put it in small size, bigger size, and bigger size so they can see it together. But the point being is that what it did do is it gave me a mock-up. Now, I could also change it. So if you hit this and you say, looks great, can we make the setting French country cottage. So then I'll say that, and now we can change it up. Now, if you have a specific style in mind or a specific mockup that you want to follow, then you would add it as an image to it. So there's so many ways you can work with it. You can feed it a template, and you can feed it the artwork, and you can say, put these two together, and it can do that too. You can replace the room. You can replace the lighting. You can say, make it afternoon hours, make the lighting like, early morning, whatever. So there's so many different ways you can make it. You could say, put the artwork on an easel. And so there are different ways of working with it. But $20, so this is $20 a month, and you get basically unlimited access. Now, the only thing with the creation of images is if you create too many images at one time, like I did like 20 or something, and I was keep going, it stopped me and it said, hey, you're creating images way too fast, slow it down. You need to wait 15 minutes before you make the next image. That's the only drawback that I found if you're having to create a lot of images. But if you're doing, let's say you've got a product ready to list and you wanted to get 3 good mockups, it's going to create them fine and you'll be good. Dungeon chamber, exactly. So here it is. It's almost done. I think it's still thinking. And that's the other thing. Sometimes it takes a little longer than other times. In these particular cases, that's why I say, I broke it. No, it's coming. That's why I say Leonardo, if I can find Leonardo again, Leonardo's pricing. Let me see. How many tokens do they give you? I want to see how many tokens they give you for the smallest one. Okay. Yeah, so $12 a month on Leonardo gives you 8,500 tokens. Each generation I was making with the blueprint for the products was actually 120 tokens. So you can imagine you can make a good number of tokens for a good number of mockups using that blueprint on Leonardo AI for only $12 a month. You get 8,500 tokens. That's a good. I think I have the next plan up, which is the 2,500 tokens. But here's the thing: if I don't use my 2,500 tokens, it will roll over to the next month, and so it can roll over up to a certain amount. So for me, it rolls over 75 of the tokens, up to 75. So that means that I'll have 75,000. I'm sorry, 75,000. Plus the 25,000 that I start off with every month. So I would have 100,000 if I did not use it for 3 months. That makes sense? So with 8,500, let's say you only use, 1,400 or, 2,000 of that. The rest of it will roll over into your next month, which is great. Midjourney doesn't do that. With Midjourney, however many tokens or hours you get, you use them or you lose them. And that's how it is. So that is the one thing that I think I do like about Leonardo AI is that it does roll over for up to 3 months any of your unused tokens. So your 8,500 that you start off with this month, if you don't use them, they will roll over to the next month. So then next month, let's say you have another 8,500. So you'll have, 17,000? Yeah. So that's how it works. Anyways, this came out really good, right? That looks good. So this looks great. And this would be a mockup that I can use, but I would have to make it square. Carryover is definitely good. I remember when I used to do that with the phones. If you didn't use all your minutes up, it would roll over to the next month. And so you would have more minutes the next month. So it does work out really well for anyone that may not use them all in one. Maybe it's a slow month. Maybe you're not working this month. Maybe you're on vacation, whatever it is. So it rolls over, and then next month you'll have a lot. So you'll be able to do even more work. So I would say Leonardo has a lot to offer for $12 a month when it comes to image generation. If you need image generation and image mockups, especially using their blueprint products, I think that's worth it. However, if you need AI to help you to answer questions, to do research, to formulate ideas, to give you listing idea, whatever it is, if you need research done, ChatGPT is better for you. And on the plus side, ChatGPT will also provide you with mock-up images too. It just takes a little bit more work because you'll have to actually type things out. Now, if you don't care about writing or AI thinking for you and doing research, and by the way, ChatGPT is $20 a month, then you would move on to something like Midjourney. Midjourney is artistically creative images, but there is no asking questions and give me ideas or anything like that. You're on your own and you need to know how to create the prompts. So those are three different venues. And Midjourney is a higher cost. I don't remember what it is per month. I think it starts at 24. I'm not sure. But you don't get stealth mode, which means nobody else can see what you create until you pay the higher brackets. Anyways, so that's that. I hope that helps. Any other question before I move on out of here? I showed you a lot, brother. I forgot about the phone minutes. Yeah, remember the phone minutes? Now it's unlimited, but back in the day, we had phone minutes. And they would roll over if you didn't use them. Awesome, man. Well, I'm sure you're going to find a bunch of things that you can do with Printify. Let me go to my full cam for a little bit. There's a lot of things that you're going to be able to do with your Printify, like product wise. All I'm going to tell you is don't do what I did, which is you try to do a bunch of different products and like put everything out there in one shop, and it's like you're all over the place. It makes no sense. You're selling t-shirts, you're selling, then you're selling freaking canvases, and then you're selling let's see, what else did they have? Candles. It's like all over the place. Like there's one thing for me, for example, I did a home. I used to, early on, I was doing like everything. I'm like, I want to do t-shirts, I want to do mugs, I want to do canvases, I want to do ornaments, I want to do what was the other one? There was another thing. Phone cases, I want to do aprons. And so I was doing all these different things, and it was like I was all over the place. And my shop really wasn't getting viewed at the time. And I really wasn't making sales. I think very, very minute. I had a couple of aprons that sold and things like that. And then I had ornaments that sold. But it was like I was just all over the place. None of my t-shirts sold because it didn't know how to classify me, I guess. So then I decided, all right, I am solely focusing on home decor. And I picked 3 products to start out with. And it was actually, when I first started, I picked 2 products to start off with. 2 different blankets and 1 pillow. So I went woven blanket, velveteen blanket, and pillows. Pillow covers with pillow inserts as well. That was an option. And that's what I did. And I just focused on that. And that was my main goal. Then as those started moving, or as I started understanding a little bit more, then I decided to think about, and by the way, no lie, I used ChatGPT to figure out a business plan and to figure out what goes with what. I'm thinking of a home decor store. This is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking blankets. What else can I sell? And it told me these things will complement. And so one of the other things, then I said, I want to put, a lot of my blankets had a lot of artwork on them. So I said, I want to make this artwork double purpose. Like let's do something else with it. What do you think about canvases? Canvas wall art, it's great for home decor, blah, 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 whatever. And then we start talking about that and how would we do this? And so therefore it wrote the next phase of, this is what I suggest, how to incorporate it. And so I did that. So then right now it was, I mean, if I look now, I think I'm doing home woven blankets, velveteen blankets, canvas wall art, pillows, only pillow covers now, not pillow inserts, and I have a couple of mugs. And that's it. But my next step is to incorporate another product. And that's what I'm thinking of now. But that's the idea. It's like you start off small with just a handful of products. I want to do, for example, I want to do t-shirts. I want to do hoodies. But I don't believe those are going to fit into this shop. I do have home decor for all occasions, or something like for all occasions and gifts or something like that. So obviously I can put it into a gift area. Rugs, that's another thing. But I try to look at what things are going to cost to ship. And so that's the other thing. When you're looking at Printify, look at how much this stuff is going to cost to make, like what it's going to cost you, and also what it's going to cost to ship. And if those two costs together are way too much to make a profit on, then it's not worth it. And that's the thing. It's like you have to look at how much am I making as a profit on these items. And that's important. And you don't want to try to like lowball and sell it for as little as possible because you think that's going to get you sales. There's a couple of curtains. That's probably something else. You know, I could also do shower curtains. That's home decor. I can do bath mugs. Yeah, was thinking about bathroom rug. Yeah, exactly. Bathroom rugs are probably something that's out there. Mouse pads might be something also because it is office decor. Stuff for the kitchen, you know, if there's something specific for the kitchen. So there's definitely a lot of different things that you can put, but as long as, you know, start off with only a handful of stuff and then go from there. And by the way, you could do either art prints that are like fine art posters, or you can do canvases. They are both available on Printify. And you can also, and like you said, do blankets. Then you just decide which blankets to do. The woven blankets are going to be, you have to read up on how to design for woven blankets because the colors are not bright. They're only there's a specific palette or specific set of colors that are used in the thread. And so therefore bright colors you can't do it. So you have to figure that one out. But velveteen blankets are good because those are basically printed. So they come out exactly how you have your design and colors. And the fleece Sherpa ones are really good too. And those come out a lot more accurate too. And there's a company that offers both of them. So you can offer both of those. There's a lot of good stuff. What time is this? 2 o'clock already? Yeah, I got to go eat lunch. This was great. Thanks, bro. No problem, man. This is what I do. And then, you know, during the week, I just work on my stuff and get my stuff done. And I'm here to answer questions if I can. So with that, I'm going to have to go and take some lunch now and see what's going on and maybe come back and do some more work. So for now, I think I'm done. What time is it? I've been on for 3 hours. That's good enough for today. Anyways, glad to help, man. I hope that that helped not only you but other people when they watch this. But I always do my thing. Good to go for now. Nice. All right. Anyways, everyone, hope you have a good afternoon for this brand new Monday, this new week that we have. Hope it got started on the right foot. When you do watch this, if you do watch this and get to the end, I appreciate you. Thank you very much for hanging out there and for even just watching this. If you don't watch it, then I guess you won't see this message, so that's okay. But if you did like any of this and you're watching it on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. It would mean a lot to me. And if you want to leave me a comment below, that's good too. I try to answer as many comments as I can if they are appropriate for me to answer. You know, if there's anything I can do there, but I always love hearing from people. And obviously on Twitch, it is what it is. I'm just here. I know I should be gaming, but sometimes these things are more important. So it is what it is. Anyhow, until next time, I think I will be back tomorrow. I may come back later and do a game stream. Maybe just play a little game for a while. But if not, I will be back tomorrow and we'll go from there. So have a great day. Brink, be safe at work. I'm sure you probably have to do that later. And I'll talk to you guys on the next one. Anyways, good seeing you. Take care of yourself. I'm out. Peace.